Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nuuli Forged. We hope you are all having a glorious week. With me are three of my fantabulous misfits. Hello, fantabulous misfits.
Hello.
Fantabulous.
Yeah.
So fantabulous.
Unfortunately, Amber is unable to be with us, but I have it on good news that we will have everybody next week.
Crazy talk.
Unless
Right.
things change, but everybody's supposed to be here next week. And if
It
they
feels like
aren't,
it's been-
Live this week.
It feels like it's been ages.
it's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
But hey, it's all good. So let's do the rounds. First off, I am going to need somebody to roll me a D100.
Who did it last?
Amber did it last
100.
time, which means
Yeah, I've done it once
somebody else
before.
needs to do it.
All right,
Here, do
sure.
that.
I did it. 55.
All right. So this week, please introduce yourself, your character, your level, and tell us what type of creature in this world is your character most intrigued by?
This world meaning Nuuli or this world meaning Earth?
Newly. How would your character know anything about Earth?
I don't know.
Exactly.
How do they know what their favorite pizza toppings are? How the heck should I know?
They
Pizza-
read it
pi-
in a book.
Pizza exists on every world, and I will not have it stated otherwise.
Okay.
There's no pineapple in this world, though.
No, definitely not.
Why not? There's pineapple is like the primary source of income for an entire country.
I don't want it to end up on that pizza.
It doesn't have to.
I'm
That's the good thing about
sorry.
pizza. You can have whatever you want or don't want on or off your pizza.
Unpopular opinion, I don't mind pineapple on my pizza.
Hey, I
Me
love
either.
I love
like it.
Hawaiian pizza. Like, come at me in the
Blocked.
comments. Whatever.
I'm leaving this campaign. Bye.
What? I'm not going to force
You don't
anyone
like it
to eat it, but I enjoy it. So step off my grill.
All right, time to derail the campaign on purpose.
Oh, like you haven't done that before. Anyway,
I'll do it again.
I'll do it again. Anyway, answering all those glorious questions, let's start up in this corner here with Mike.
That's me. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike. I play Defect, Warforged Barbarian. And I think I feel it's a given. The animal that he's most drawn to is the duck.
I was about to say.
Like, I feel like I can't give any other answer other than the duck.
Can that be your
Yes.
next totem? Totem of the duck.
I mean,
Right.
you make
There
that
is.
joke, but there is a duck totem that Matt Mercer made. So,
Yes, there is.
Stop! I'm gonna look this shit up.
yeah. Because the guy who plays Napoleon Dynamite, I don't know the actor's name, but he guest starred on Critical Role for a couple episodes, and he was a totem barbarian, totem of the duck,
Of course he was.
I need this.
which fueled fan rumors that said character was actually a duck that had been true polymorphed into a half orc.
Sure. I mean, they're both green.
Sure, but it was fun. It was a fun idea, so it does exist out there. So
Oh wow, my phone auto-corrected duck.
Oh no.
I bet it
Really?
did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Usually it's the other way around.
wow.
It's learning.
I
Good job, Apple.
I am impressed. Good job. I can't get my phone to say that if I try. That's amazing. Apparently there's a setting where you can like tell it to stop making that horrible like duck correction, but I don't know how to do it.
There's
If you
also-
tell it there's someone in your contacts named, it will then correct their name.
Oh,
There's also Totem of the Honey Badger.
there is. Yeah.
That's
There's a
adorable.
lot of fun ones that people
I
are
never saw that one.
very creative have come up with. But good answer
Thank you.
for Mike. Let's hop over and down to Tanner, who is in the midst of research on duck barbarians.
And Honey Badger Barbarian.
Hmm,
Honey Badger makes no sense. I mean, they don't give a fuck.
They don't.
they don't.
And
Right.
Famously so, actually.
I have to reread it, but it says you can shrug off one attack.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck. Hi, I'm Tanner. I'm playing Adis the Human Ranger. And an animal that I'm most intrigued by. I don't know. I'm traumatized by birds. Anything in the sand. Although does the flump count as an animal?
Yeah, it's creature. So yeah,
Okay, because that
Okay,
thing was
creatures or beasts?
fascinating.
creatures. I've got it in chat. Thanks for the waving Pikachus. Good to see you as always.
Yay, Pikachu's!
And hopping up to the other top corner, we got Sarah.
Hey, I'm Sarah, and I play Olive, the half-orc druid. And Olive, I think, is very, very intrigued by the giant sea serpent we killed a few weeks ago, and it's kind of sad that we didn't get to spend some time looking at that because sea creatures are fun.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And carrying around a chunk plus 2 scales of that thing.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
I don't know what the heck I'm going to do with them, but they're cool, so I kept them.
Yeah. And my name is Jared. I am everybody and everything else that is not the player characters. We are a fun homebrew world 5e D&D play stream. And we play in this crazy world of Nuuli that came out of my brain that is just recovering, or coming out of, I suppose, a 1,000-year-long magical apocalypse. So, it'll be a good time. And speaking of time, last time on Nuuli Forged, Greg and the Misfits continued their trek through the Threatspire Mountains, meeting some members of a tribe of Goliath and encountering some dangerous deer-headed eagles called Perytons. Adis and Greg were both severely wounded in battle, but quick action on the part of Defect, coupled with Paduk's healing, helped them recover quickly. Moving on from the scene, the party was able to get a long rest and cover a fair bit of ground, reaching the upper summits of the Threatspires. And eventually catching glimpses of their destination far off in the distance. A forest that seems to be constantly aflame, as well as a slow-moving rainstorm. Adis also revealed to the party that he felt he might be departing soon, but he felt that it was his responsibility to get them to the other side of the mountains. This did not sit well with particularly Greg, but the others seemed to understand his desire to spend more time with Kaelin. Still, they pressed on another day, Olive's magic aiding the group in a speedy flight, and they set down without too much of an incident, close to their destination. However, during Olive's watch overnight, she heard something on the wind, and turned and saw a white dragon beelining for their camp, which is where we are going to pick up our adventures, and I need everyone here to roll initiative.
Ooh, boy.
What if I say no?
Then bad things
Well,
will
it
happen.
Works that way.
I failed to select a token, as usual, because
Yes, always select your token and roll initiative.
I love night mode so much. This is just the character sheets. Everything looks so much better.
It does. Yeah, I dig it.
It's true. Tonight is the first night that we have seen Roll20's new updated night mode, which is going to be a fun, exciting experience.
It's gorgeous.
whoa.
Just a heads up, everybody.
Yeah. Boom, here we go. All right, I have a 14 for Olive.
Oh, I forgot Paduk. Hold on.
Yep, don't forget to click Paduk and add him to the exciting times. And Adis, are you going to, or Tanner, are you going to run Greg?
Yeah.
Greg already rolled the initiative.
No, it's asking if I'm going to run, Greg. Yeah.
What has gone on here?
Insanity.
There we go. No, it was in a strange.
Crown of Madness.
No, it was just on the wrong scene for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, so it's not a dragon. It's actually a giant duck, right?
Could be.
We do need more ducks in this campaign.
It's actually the duck version of Tiamat. I don't know if any of you have seen that. Fantastic.
No, but I want to.
I'll send it to you. Hold on.
Please.
I also sent you the totem of the honey badger.
I saw that. Ooh, I like it. 14th level frenzy
Important
attack.
things.
All right. Well, first up is indeed Defect.
Are we all awake at this point, or
You
was
are
it only
actually you are not awake. All of you
Okay.
are asleep except for Olive.
Yeah.
So, Olive has called out. I think is where we ended.
If I didn't just before we ended, I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, I'm assuming that you immediately when you saw this thing called alarm. That makes sense and is believable. So, Defect, you can make a perception check. It's a DC 10.
Okay.
You
Do I get advantage because of
Because you don't sleep?
the way I sleep?
No, you do. You have a straight roll because you sleep the way you rest the way you rest. Everyone else will be doing it at disadvantage because they are
perception?
unconscious. Yep. So a 7, unfortunately, is not enough. We will move on then to Greg with Olive on deck. Greg can make a perception check at disadvantage because they are unconscious.
Yes, great. Oh wait, no disadvantage. Damn it!
Unfortunately, disadvantage.
The dice are paying me back for all the times I slept through y'all fighting, aren't they?
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
But now it is Olive's turn, and you can see this dragon is probably about 40 or so feet away.
How far away is that storm?
The storm is miles away. Like it is like slightly drizzling here, but like so it's like rain, but it's not a storm here.
Not close enough to help me, is what you're saying.
There is no lightning from which you can just call. You would have to summon it.
All right. I'm gonna
To
yell
get
again.
my own damn lightning.
I'm gonna yell again. Hey, y'all, get up!
Okay, great.
And then, yeah, I mean, what the fuck? I might as well. That's what that's the useful thing I can do at this point. Calling lightning.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you call lightning on the dragon. It's going to attempt a dexterity saving throw. Whoops.
Dexterous, isn't it?
It failed the saving throw.
Excellent.
So it takes 14 lightning damage.
What if it was nice?
Too late.
Oh, well.
It was coming over to tell us that Spoot's in danger.
Right?
I'm buying it.
Wow. It is definitely a shift in reading creature stat blocks in night vision.
Ooh.
Yeah.
that-
Just because it's a lot more... it's just different.
Some of the writing, I will say, is a little fainter than it could be, but
Yeah, they either need to like change the font or make it stronger, bolder, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
the background's in black.
Yep,
The writing should be in white.
you'd think so. But it's largely gray and red.
And red, which is really hard to read against the black. Yeah.
Well, if you I clicked on the Boots of Quickling, and the writing is all in black,
Oh, that's
and I
less
couldn't.
helpful.
I was like, yeah, I can't read that without
right.
my glasses.
Yeah, probably because that's something that I made, and
Yeah.
this was not a thing. There may be a setting for it. I don't know. Anyway, it is now the dragon's turn.
Can I run over and take cover in these rocks?
You can
before
try.
It comes the dragon's turn.
Yeah,
Fuck y'all in the tent.
yeah, you can try.
That looks like a good place to hide.
All right, cool. Yeah, so you run over there. The dragon sees you. Like you
Yeah,
can't
I know, but
hide.
at least I've got some cover.
Well, the dragon just flies over,
And it's gonna fucking kill me. Yeah.
turns its head at you, and a massive cone of icy cold shoots out at you. I need a Constitution saving throw from you, Olive.
Feeling constitutional.
Nice.
17 is a success. Instead of taking 38 cold damage, you take 19.
Awesome.
Fantastic. The dragon is flying and stays in the air. But it does fly a bit over this way, perhaps intrigued, or at least keeping its distance from you.
Now, calling lightning makes noise, right? There's thunder involved?
It does.
Okay.
Which brings us to Paduk, and Adis is on deck. Paduk can make a perception check at disadvantage.
13.
Paduk wakes up.
Oh, thank God. At least if I die, someone's there to wake me up. Someone's there to get me.
Right.
So between Olive shouting and lightning crashing and thunder, Paduk is awoken.
Paduk. Wait a minute. I forgot. Can Paduk see and
Paduk cannot
Dark.
see in the dark.
not? And we do not have a fire going, or do we?
Nope. It was explicitly stated that it was put out.
Okay. Paduk then will help other people wake up.
Paduk can use his action to wake people up. He can use his action to wake one person up at a time.
Okay. I guess he'll help Adis wake up.
Don't need help.
But it's also what Paduk would do.
Oh,
Okay. I was gonna say my skill in perception is higher than the DC.
that is true, but it seems like Paduk's been hanging out with you the most.
Yeah,
so
that would make
I
sense.
would
Yeah.
go to you first.
All right.
Hanging out and throwing up in your hood.
So, Adis, you are woken up by Paduk regardless of whatever perception check. You can still make one if you want to see if you can figure out what's going on. You are not at disadvantage or anything because you were woken up.
14.
Cool. So yeah, you heard a lightning strike and you heard an icy roar, and it's a very familiar roar to you because you've heard similar sounds from a creature in the desert.
That you're wearing.
Hey, I'm only wearing his cousin. 3 times removed. I will go out of the tent.
Yep, half your
I
movement to stand up, get out of the tent.
Yeah, wait, so it's 5, 10.
Yep, and you see a dragon, a white dragon, flying about 30 feet in the air.
Shit. Ada says shit. He'll just knock.
Oh,
I
and
will-
Olive, I need a DC 10 con save for you for your lightning.
Another one?
Yep,
Oh yeah, concentration.
to maintain concentration.
Oh, okay. I thought this was what the last one was for. Sure.
Nope, the last one was a
Double
save
19.
against the icy breath. But you
Gotcha.
are successful, so...
Doesn't matter. I'm feeling very, very confident.
Carry on, Adis.
Question.
Answer.
Geometry. Is this thing 30 feet away from me? Or is it like X amount of feet, like 30 feet diagonal?
It is
Planar
30...
warrior.
Time!
It's close enough for Planar Warrior. It's 30 feet above
Okay.
the ground, but D&D does not include Euclidean geometry, so it's
Right.
it's non-Euclidean. So
Okay.
No wonder this world is so fucked up.
Right.
yeah,
Parts of it are so confusing.
Well, theoretical.
yeah.
Monstrosities not confusing. Angles I don't even know. Planar warrior, I'm going to knock an arrow and just shout to the dragon, because the last dragon we encountered spoke common, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make an assumption that all dragons speak common. Even though it's not safe to assume things.
No.
I'm very sorry for my friend attacking you. Is there any way we can talk this out? I'll just...
Okay, make a persuasion check.
Please, for the love of Melora. What happens if I burn my inspiration? Is that advantage or a reroll after I roll?
It gives you advantage.
Okay, I'm gonna burn my inspiration.
Nice.
Please.
Been holding on to that since episode 50.
Oh God!
Fucking.
Oh, wow.
kidding me.
Wow.
That could
Dragon
get
is a
worse,
dragon that you
but
talk to.
not by much.
Well, good thing you had advantage, I guess.
Yeah, and I'll just, if it tries to act hostilely again, I'll take a pot shot.
All right, so you're holding an attack.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Brings us to defect. You can make another persuasion check. It lowers to a DC of 7 now.
You mean perception?
Perception. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Woohoo!
All right.
There you are. You wake up.
All right, I get up.
Yep, half your movement.
And then let's see, 5, 10. And so I see the dragon.
Yep.
He's up in the air.
Yep.
Okay. And so I'm
You can hit
definitely
that,
going to.
right?
I will rage, of course. So I
Okay.
get a little bonus movement from that. 10, 15, 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the rest of my movement, I'll move to here. And I will ready an action. So if it comes near me, I'll swing my axe at it.
Okay, cool. Greg can make a perception check at disadvantage, DC 7. Because now a lot of stuff's going on.
Stuff is
Oh, unfortunately, Greg is snoring louder than Olive usually does.
I mean, Greg got hurt. Can Greg use their not inspiration, flash of genius?
I'm going to say no because they are not conscious. But that brings us to Olive.
Yeah. Lightning it again. That's what I got.
Go for it. All right, let's see how it
Oh, that
does.
damage.
That is good damage.
Mm-hmm.
And it lands on the creature. The dragon
Wow.
does not appear to be extremely nimble. And looking at it, those of you who fought the blue dragon see that this one is approximately the same size.
It's just a baby.
A baby.
Not impressed.
All right.
I'm
And
also going to yell to my friends, "Hey, it breathes ice."
Anything else on your turn?
No.
All right.
Adis looks at the snow on the ground. Shocking.
It is now the dragon's turn. And it does not too much like the lightning, so it flies over Defect, lands directly in front of Olive,
Awesome.
and it is going to make some attacks on Olive. It's going to attempt...
If it's doing that, can I pot shot it?
Yeah.
Either before,
Yep,
you know, okay.
make your
Can I
attack.
still add planar warrior, or is it too far away? Or would you
Um,
allow me to do it as it's flying towards?
I think it is obvious that it has conquerous intent on its mind. So I think you could intuit that it is about to attempt to lay into your friend. So I will allow
Okay.
you to have Planar Warrior.
And I'm shooting this off before I can sneak attack, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I'll make sure everything's clicked.
Yeah.
25
That'll hit.
for 12 points of force damage.
Nice. Boom. Right into the dragon shoulder. Hurr! It turns its head as it flies towards Olive, but it doesn't deviate from its chosen direction. Although you get the feeling it has marked you as well now.
I wouldn't do.
But it is going to attempt to bite Olive.
I'm crunchy.
That's a 12 to hit.
Oh, but it misses.
Nice. It then comes in with 2 claw swipes. The first one misses. The second attack is a 15 to hit.
Yeah, that one hits.
For 11 slashing damage. And I need a DC 10 con save. Yep, you're
Feeling
good.
touched.
Yes.
Yep, you're good. All right, next we have Paduk.
Paduk will take his turn to wake up Grig.
Okay, Paduk shakes Greg. Greg, wake up! Wake up! There's something happening. Sounds big. And so
Just like
Greg
that,
is
yep.
no longer unconscious. That brings us to Adis.
Sweet. I still have spell slots. I would like to use Fairy Fire, or at least attempt to.
All right.
And I would like to angle it so that it doesn't get Grigger Defect.
You mean Olive?
Yeah.
It rolls a natural 1 on its dexterity save.
Yes.
This
So
dragon is not dexterous at all. This is like the flimsiest dragon.
It's a baby.
It is.
Alright, so yeah, it's outlined now in the like purpley gold
Mm-hmm.
look. And then I will I'm just gonna like what's this over here?
It's just a big rock.
Okay. Wait. Hold on. I need it also illuminates
All right, it sheds dim light.
oh shit. I just exited out of roll 20. God damn it. Hold on. I think it's dim light for it's either 10 or 20 feet. Hold on. Greg has it on their character sheet.
Yep, no problem.
Dim light and
Loading.
10-foot radius.
Okay.
Glorious. Dim light and 10 foot.
Alright, I'm still loading.
Yep.
Give me a second. There we go. Sweet. Alright, I was right here. Yeah, so I just like kind of want a GTFO.
Yep.
I'll go over to there. And then I will bonus action steady aim.
Okay. Great.
I think that's what I want to do. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to Defect.
Yes. Defect is gonna run up to it.
It's on the ground now. You can do that.
I know I can.
You
It's
have
exciting.
auto advantage.
Yeah, and you have
I know,
advantage because
right?
it's lined in Fairy Fire.
Great weapon
Right?
master.
I'm gonna test the water. Hold on. Should I? Yeah, let's do it.
You have
Minus
you have
5 plus
advantage.
10. Yeah, let's do it. -5 plus 10. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
A 22 will hit.
To hit. So 22 points of damage.
Yep.
And let's do the exact same thing again.
Go for it.
Okay. Again, 21 to
Yep,
hit.
that'll hit for
For
another 22.
points of damage.
Yeah. Woo. All right, that will bring us next to Greg, who is now awake.
Greg will do their scream of panic that they normally do. Yeah.
Ah!
Stand up, and then, if I'm remembering correctly, they already used their free cannon for the day, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they? We've rested since the last battle.
It's once per long rest. I think you get a free cannon, and then after
Right.
that you have to.
The last battle was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I thought we fought with the birds last session.
You did, but there was another day of travel
day.
after that.
Oh, so I have all of my spell slots. I didn't long rest.
Yeah, everyone but me has all their spell slots. I'm the only one who's used spells since our last long rest.
All right,
Yep.
so because I'm at like half health, so that's why I was like GTFOing. Good to know I can reset that. So Greg will 5, 10, 15. And since it worked so well last time, they're going to bonus action Hex. Because the range, I think Hex is 90 feet.
Yep, totally.
And then... Sorry, Greg has a lot of things to keep track of.
They do.
Action to bring into play the cannon. Do I? I'll save the cannon for now. And so bonus action Hex, and then they will action Firebolt.
Go for it.
Yeah, because Hex is using spell slot. They got advantage.
A 10, unfortunately, will miss.
Sounds about right.
Blast some rock and some shale goes shattering above your head, Olive, but no damage.
That's it. Super exciting.
Olive, it is now your turn.
Boom, crash.
Very good.
You went from a 28 to an 8.
I know. It's the magic of
It still fails the saving throw.
What the hell?
8 is better than nothing.
I love this dragon.
Yep.
He's so cute.
Yeah, he was after some trophies and is paying for it.
Trophies bite back.
Right. It is now his turn.
That doesn't sound good.
Right? Yeah.
He is now more concerned about the. Well, no, he doesn't like getting struck by lightning.
No.
So he's going to bite at Olive
Yeah.
and miss entirely. And then a claw at Olive. That's a 15
Yeah, that hits.
for 13 slashing, and a claw at Defect. That's a 17 to hit.
That's a miss.
Yeah. It then fucks off and flies 30 feet up. Or it begins to fly. Yeah.
Opportunity attack?
Yeah, you do.
All right.
Ooh, do I
Great weapon master.
I don't think I can do it on a reaction, right?
Yeah, you can. It's any
I
attack.
can. Oh, awesome. Then yes, I will. Oh, I shouldn't have.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
a 9 will not hit.
All
I'm
right.
also going to swipe at him.
Yeah, go for
Best she can. With her super fancy olive quarterstaff.
it. A dirty 20 will hit.
And why didn't it roll my damage?
I don't know.
That like that.
If you just click the super fancy olive, it'll roll it for you. There you
it goes.
go. All right. So it takes a little bit of damage, and it flies up in the air.
Every little bit of damage is a little bit of more
it-
damage.
It has flown like 60 feet up.
It's gonna get its mom, isn't it?
And that brings us to Paduk.
The Duke is gonna step out of the tent. and because it's outline of fairy fire, you can see the dragon, right? So
Yeah. Can't see anything
Uh,
else because the dragon's now, with its light source, is now 60 feet up.
I know,
It's just like darkness, glowing object in the distance.
In the sky.
Or, I mean,
An
60
artificial
feet
storm.
up, right? Paduk wants a part of the action, so hold on. Let me see if it can reach it. 60 feet. All right.
The target is hurt, though. It's not an
It is
unhurt.
hurt.
Yep.
So,
Ooh.
I know a little bit of damage, but DC 15 Wisdom saving
All
throw.
right. You all hear these tinkling wind chimes kind of echo out from Paduk.
Aw.
Dingle, dingle, dingle.
Yep. And the dragon roars and shakes its head.
So I'm guessing did not hit.
No, it did.
All right. Well,
It failed.
oh, it did.
The dragon didn't like it. That brings us to Adis.
Yeah, Paduk's gonna just fly inside, right inside the tent.
Mm-hmm.
He really does not like the snack that fights back, does he?
No.
No.
Alright, Adis will take 2 shots. First shot. Oh wait, I don't even need to.
He's got fairy fire on him.
I do, so that means I get sneak attack.
Yep.
Double advantage is not a crit, right?
No, but a 25 will
25.
hit.
For 19 magical piercing damage.
Yeah. That
Second
hits.
shot. Yeah, 14.
A 14 will not hit, unfortunately.
Yeah. I got excited about that first arrow and misfired.
That brings us to Defect. Down on the ground.
I know. Flying enemies, my arch nemesis. Oh, to be a duck. I can't do anything, so I'll just I'll move over here, I guess, and
Shake your fist at it.
I'll ready an attack, and maybe taunt it a little bit. You know, be like, "Hey, come down here and take me on, baby dragon."
Okay. That brings us to Greg.
Oh, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Greg will yell some obscenities at the dragon and cast a
In Draconic?
second. They don't speak Draconic.
They speak some random words of Draconic.
Oh yeah, they'll
Do they include curse words?
I have no idea what Spoot taught.
Spook
Greg.
would specifically probably not teach curse words.
Fair.
We will cast Magic Missile.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, I have to do this every time.
Yep.
So the first one's 3,
Okay.
2,
Yep.
1. Oh, 2. Alright.
Yep.
So Magic Missile first level's just 3 darts, right?
Yep. 3 darts.
Okay.
They
They
all
get
hit,
hex on 'em.
so they get their hex.
3 hex damages. I hate this thing. 2d6. I can't. I swear, I'm done, guys. Bye. Another 6 necrotic.
All right. So that is 8, 10, 12, 15 total damage.
And then we'll throw a Fury of the Small in there for another 9.
Okay. I need Olive to make a dexterity saving throw
Oh dear.
as the dragon begins to plummet down.
Oh, not feeling so dexterous.
All right. The
Flash of Inspiration or Flash of Genius for a +4? 13?
that is the DC. So instead of taking 23 bludgeoning damage from the impact of a large dragon upon you, you instead take 11. as you and are not like knocked prone and destroyed by it, as the creature like smashes into the ground immediately next to you and showers debris and rock and everything on you, and you get battered by it, but you don't take too much damage. But it is dead on the ground. Well done. Good job.
Can we poke at it? Can we poke at it?
I'm
If you
gonna
want.
poke at this.
Yeah, you can do that. It is decidedly dead.
I thought that was gonna be a lot worse.
Yeah, no, this whole
I'm gonna
week.
eat my words in a little bit, but
I was gonna say,
Yes.
does it have a mama or a big brother coming?
they're gonna come looking because they didn't make curfew.
Who's to say, really? But good job. You have slain another little tiny dragon. Quite handily, I should add.
Yeah.
Helping control the pet population by spaying and neutering your dragons. But yeah,
Cool.
so a moment goes by. The corpse of the dragon, after a few moments, does not glow anymore. And Paduk pokes his head out in the meantime. Good job! You did it!
Thanks, Paduk.
Hey,
Yeah.
no worries. Happy to
Think,
help.
back to bed.
Yeah, it's someone else's turn to watch. I'm going to sleep. I'm tired. I flew all day.
I'll
And also that hurt.
It looked like it. I can take. It was a second watch. I forget how. Did we do any watches before Olive?
Yes.
We did, and somebody woke me up.
Yeah, Olive was the second watch. I believe Adis was the first watch.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going back to bed.
Or maybe it was Defect. Maybe it was Defect.
I don't know. Somebody woke me up. I don't know who.
I think it was me.
I think it was Defect.
Yeah.
I'll take third watch then.
Great.
Well, I'll keep watch. You guys go take a rest.
Olive's going to cast Cure Wounds on herself before she goes to bed, just in case.
Sure.
It's fair. It's fair.
Can't hurt. Literally, the spell can't hurt you.
Yes.
Unless. Oh wait, this isn't Final Fantasy. I was about to say, unless you're undead.
Excellent freezing.
We are not playing that edition of D&D.
Right?
Cool.
I cast Revivify on the Lich.
Yep.
Okay, friends. This was fun. I'm going to bed now.
Yep.
Good night.
Yeah, you all turn in. Adis, it is your watch. You can make a perception check if you desire to.
If I pick at this dragon currently during watch, I will get exhaustion.
If you like just look at it, like it depends on what you're doing. If you're going to like intensively like try to harvest stuff, then yes, you will gain a level of exhaustion. But if you're just like looking it over on your watch, then that's not a big strain.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just like look it over, take some notes, and handle that thing in the morning.
Yeah, you can make a perception check for the dragon.
Durgan perception check 15.
It is a fairly young white dragon, as far as you can tell. It's roughly the same size of the blue dragon you faced before. It does not have many like battle scars on it, maybe like one or two, but nothing to indicate that it has much experience or many victories behind it.
I can tell.
Aside from the scars we inflicted upon it.
Yeah, it's a bit broken and pierced and slashed and a little charred and singed.
And can I just like also take notes of like things that might be harvestable from it?
Sure. Yeah, with a 15, just looking it over, the various lightning strikes have rendered the hide fairly, like, charred and useless.
Sorry.
Um, a couple talons you could probably get with time and investment, and
Okay.
maybe a tooth. Um,
Those things beat up.
yeah, if you wanted to like go like internal organ hunting, you could do that, but it would just be more time.
Right. Okay.
And
Well, do
also,
I know of anything?
and also, I'm not sure if you have like the tools for like delicate organ removal or not. You can check your.
Did you bring your dissection kit?
I
your
have a
inventory.
surgeon's kit.
I sense shenanigans.
It's for my time being a doctor. All right.
Dr. Carl Vorkian.
All right. I guess I'll maybe take a victory talon or tooth in the morning then.
Cool. Yeah, you hunker back down for your watch and just kind of check out. The kind of light rain turns to like snowy slush just because of the altitude, but nothing too dangerous comes your way. You don't see any like predators or like larger dragons looking for a baby one or anything like that. So, pretty quiet.
Sweet. Oh Jesus! I almost fell off my chair.
Don't do that.
All right then. If nothing happens, I will go and wake Greg and Paduke.
Yeah, you awaken them. They can make perception checks, or Grig can do it at advantage if Paduk is helping.
Sure, we'll do that. Fuck. I'm not even gonna flash a genius out. That'd be useless.
Greg is still
Grig
asleep.
doesn't notice anything.
Yeah, Greg several times during the watch just like starts dozing off and just like the snot bubble.
Yeah,
Comes
Paduk
out.
occasionally is like, "Hey, hey, Grig, wake up, Grig." Oh, right. Yeah. So they don't notice anything. But the sun rises. Everybody wakes up. Everyone can now apply a long rest.
Oh, thank dog.
You all awaken. The fairly frozen over corpse of the dragon still remains. It's weird. Like, now that it's been dead for a while, it's like charred and kind of frozen.
Defect, do you want me to try to take a talon or a tooth?
Yes, please. That would be amazing.
You're just gonna have to break off some of the ice a little bit.
No worries.
Cool. So you can attempt to like break off the ice. How are you going to break off the ice?
Gently smashing it with my axe.
We
Great.
have pittons and hammers.
Oh, that'd be better. Yeah, kind of chisel around
Great.
it.
Make a
That'd
strength.
be great.
Make
Want
a
to
strength
anchor
check.
ourselves to it.
Strength.
Yep.
check.
I'm still sad I used inspiration and rolled a 3.
The dice are cruel sometimes.
All right. 16.
Yeah, you expertly crack open the ice enough for Adis to get in there. Adis, now that
Right.
the talons are exposed, you can attempt a survival check, but it's going to be a dexterity-based survival check, just to like wheedle a talon out without damaging it.
Alright, so this will just be -1 then?
Okay.
Because that's the only difference between my dex and my wisdom.
Sure.
Well, like, subtract 1 from the total, I mean.
Yeah. I gotcha.
27.
Yeah, you expertly pop out 3 dragon claws without any issue.
I hand one to Defect and I put the other 2 in Grig's bag.
Yes, I added to my inventory.
Yep. You can
Would this be
note that down.
considered young white dragon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, young white dragon claws, 3 in total. And that probably took you about 20 minutes to do fairly quickly and easily.
All right. Added that to Grig's sheet.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you all ready to set off?
Yes. Let's continue.
All right. Where are we? There we go. Boom. Defect, you're a eagle.
Eagle.
I had to think for a second. I almost said
know.
you're a dragon, but you're not. You're an eagle.
If only.
Right?
And I'm an eagle, and we scoop you all up and take off.
Yep. Without any issue, you are all off flying. You are lower than like the crazy winds, so you can just give dex checks as eagles.
Adis tries to burrito roll Grig, but Grig just like gets mad at Adis and pushes them away and does it himself.
Yeah.
Like-
Greg is being strangely like silent, especially towards Adis these days.
Grig isn't even screaming as they fly.
What is it? Body can get used to anything, even being hanged.
Yep. Give it enough time. Okay. Glorious. So you continue on with a 7 and an 8. It's a little rough going. The winds are pretty turbulent. It's still not storming, but there's just enough wind with the rain that makes traversing a little difficult. So you don't get the full distance you would by the time the hour comes up. But you can make a perception check, Olive, as you feel your spell about to lose.
22.
Glorious.
Perceptifying.
Olive's pretty darn perceptive.
Yeah, without
Eagles are pretty
without
darn
issue, you're able to see. You're much lower in altitude now, so it's very easily you are able to land safely on a bit of rocky patch. You revert, cast the spell again, defects an eagle, and away you go. Go ahead, give me a couple more dexterity checks as giant eagles, you two. Nice, a 21 from defect.
Working, marking off spell slots. Boop. No, apparently it didn't boop. There we go, booping.
Okay, an 11. Yeah, without too much difficulty, you fly down. And in this second hour, you see that the land beneath you becomes less and less rocky fairly quickly. This eastern side of the Threatspire Mountains are more like sheer cliffs, as though these parts of the mountains were literally like pushed right up. And then kind of right at the base of them, they become more foresty plain areas. So you quickly leave the rugged mountain terrain behind and have successfully crossed the Threatspire Mountains.
Oh,
Good job.
Yeehaw.
finally.
In that last hour, in the last bit of that hour, you get a few more miles away, and you can see, without needing to really look, you can see like the perpetual kind of low haze that like a smoldering fire makes, like continuously rising from an area a few, like maybe 80 to 100 miles away from you. At least that seems where the bulk of it is. It seems like there is like parts of this Grove of Embering Elms that you've been told about that like is closer to the mountains, but it's not as dense there. So it's really up to you, but you can feel the spell begin to pull.
Yeah, I want to find a not smoldering spot to stop.
Yeah, there's definitely like southern forest and like woodlands that you can check out. You don't really need to make a perception check for that.
Okay.
So you can fly to a safe little clearing and revert, and you are Olive and Defect yet again.
All right.
All right, guys, it's time for a siesta.
How these Embering Elms?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which you definitely saw, even with the wind and the rain, up in the clutches of Eagle Olive. So,
Right. I don't know. Could I use Greg's wand of detect magic? And just like, I want to look at these flames, or is it out of range?
It's way out of range. They are miles away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're like like the densest part is like 80 or 90 miles away, and the closer parts are probably like 5 or 10 miles away.
Okay.
Like essentially, like there's a little thin ribbon that's fairly close to the foothills of the eastern Threatspires.
Mm-hmm.
That are kind of smoldering and smoking constantly, but like the densest part you could see from your altitude as you approached was much farther east.
Got you. Okay. Well, I can keep watch while you take a nap, Olive.
Great. Olive's gonna find a comfy place to rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're gonna get woken up in a few minutes.
Cool. With a 22, Adis, you notice that the rain is steady and constant. There's no creatures out and about right now. Like, it's not torrential downpour, like keeping creatures away because they're afraid of drowning. It's more just like, it's an inconvenience to be out today, so why would I?
Right.
You all are getting a little bit wet, but you're not drenched. At least not yet.
Can Olive take her nap as an eagle in the hopes of being more waterproof?
Sure.
I mean, we could put up the tent. It takes 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's up to you.
I've also got 3 hours left of being an eagle, so
yeah, I mean there's definitely like tree cover that can like help alleviate things. You just had to land in a clearing, but like you can hop up on one of the larger branches and.
Can you short rest in wild shape?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay.
It lasts. I'm at this level. It lasts for 4 hours. So
Yeah.
I've never done it nor encountered it, so I just wasn't too sure.
I see no reason why, if you want to spend time as a giant eagle, that you can't rest in that form. Makes sense to me.
It says if you fall unconscious, not if you take a nap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like a short rest isn't like napping. It's like tending to wounds and like just relaxing. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like took an actual nap and like went unconscious, then your wild shape would drop.
But then I'd be asleep already, so I wouldn't be worried about getting wet.
Yep. Maybe falling out of the tree that you jumped into, but hey, whatever. But I'm happy to just be like, you're not actually like sleeping, you're just chillaxing for an hour.
Sure.
That's fine. But yeah, you can do that. Adis, one thing you notice with your perception as it was, while you were up there, you kind of put together these pieces that the rain that you're being hit by, the rain, was like over parts of the forest and this like smoldering one. And it didn't seem to be like affecting the fires. Like it wasn't like putting fires out. As far as you could tell.
Would I know if fires from the plane of fire don't really go out? Or would I know anything about that? Or was that not really taught at all?
Because of your history, you can make an Arcana check.
Okay.
because you have some rudimentary knowledge of the various planes.
16.
Okay, with a 16, you know that the elemental plane of fire is like a natural place. Like, it is not supernatural fire. It's not like demonic or devil fire.
Mm-hmm.
It is the epitome of natural flame, which is affected by water. However, there are creatures that exist that like are made of flame, that don't like water, but that doesn't mean their flame necessarily goes out when they get wet. But
So this fire seems like it could be something else is the cause of it. Most likely not that like broken plane of fire portal.
yeah, you think that the likelihood, given the distance away from that portal location and
Mhm.
your understanding of how the elemental plane of fire works, they are probably not related. But there's always
Okay.
a chance, but it's probably not that.
Okay.
Cool. The rest completes unless anybody else wants to do anything fun. And Olive, you are free to be an eagle.
All right. I'm gonna drop back to being Olive, and
Herb time.
we ready? All right.
Mhm.
Boom. Defect. You're an eagle again.
Yeah.
Boom. I'm an eagle again.
Mm-hmm.
Scoop up our friends. Keep flying.
Yep. This low, you don't need to make any kind of checks because you're not battling high winds or anything.
All right.
The spire of threatening has stopped.
So the question becomes, where do you want to head? Do you want to head towards like the dead center of this flaming forest? Do you want to head towards the like northern little sliver of it? Or do you want to kind of like scoot the southern edge of the Embering Elms and stay over the regular forest, and maybe something will pop out either way you travel?
I think we want to skirt it. Does anyone have any notes that say anything more useful than Embering Elms? Because all I wrote down was in the Embering Elms.
No. I
I
think
think
we just learned that the shard is possibly in the Embering Elms. We know that there's another one in the bit. I can't read that.
the barricades.
Barricades.
Yeah, which is more mountains.
Right.
I would say we would skirt it if for no other reason than Olive Eagle doesn't want to breathe smoke for the next hour.
I would say,
Yeah.
yeah, we can. I would like to get closer to be able to see
Yes.
more of, but kind of get I would say like perimeter.
Yes, like just barely skirting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, given your speed as a giant eagle, within like 45 minutes, you're able to get to like a southern edge of the forest of the Embering Elms. And it's weird. It's like an exact line, like a deembarkation line. As you look down, north of that line, there are these elm trees that are smoldering like the ashes of a fire, but they're not bare of leaves. It's just like some of the leaves are smoldering and it's creating this like thick, heavy smoke. And you can look down and see the forest floor between the various trees, some of which are all burned away. And the floor is just persistent ash. There's no undergrowth beneath. Some of the trees have flames licking up them, but mostly it's just like smoldering embers kind of pocketed in amongst the trees, in the bark, as though the trees are just used to being on fire. But it just stops at a certain point, and you can travel along that line for about 15 minutes before you feel your spell begin to wane.
I think that's what we want to do. I think we want to stay out of the smoke, but stay close enough to kind of see into it. Is there anything do we see anything more interesting than flaming trees.
Make a perception check.
Murmur. Nah, Eagle doesn't see shit. Let's land. Eagles
So,
got something in their eyes.
so as a giant eagle, don't you have advantage on perception checks?
Oh, you do.
Ooh, yes, that involves sight. Yes, that rely on sight. Excellent. In
Yeah.
that case, yes.
I'm gonna stop telling you all these things shortly. So,
Dude, I got a lot of stat blocks.
hey, you wanted to be a druid.
I know. I
Yeah.
know.
Once
You're
you
right.
hit level 10, you're on your own.
Fair.
But but with a 26, Olive, you do see something intriguing. Kind of at the very edge of your eagle vision, so it's still miles away, but into the Embering Elms. You see what appears to be like the best way to describe it is like a maze of buildings, maybe. It's still hard to make out details, but it's something like that. It's like a bunch of stone buildings in a weird pattern, but that's
Okay.
But it's
And how far away is that?
like 30 miles into the Elms, maybe. It's hard to tell exactly because you're an eagle, you're up here, and there's a distance. Like it's
Sure.
it would be a trap.
math.
Yeah.
Parallel lines meet in this world.
You know, but like eagles can see for a long ways. And the fact that you were able to see this at all amongst the trees is amazing. So you don't really get like what it actually is, but like that's the thing that your mind thinks of is like a building of mazes or something.
Cool. So, and we're out of time on defect.
Yeah, you're about to drop that. So if you want to fly a few 100 feet away from the
we're gonna
fire
fly
line,
safe enough back that we can land and not singe our feathers.
yeah, you can use these last few minutes to fly a few 100 feet south, find
You
a
don't like that
place,
spell?
No.
and yeah, you pop back to your appropriate humanoid selves.
Great. Hey guys, there's some kind of stone structure over that away a bit.
Yes.
Unless anyone saw anything more interesting, I think we should fly over there and see what it is.
A stone structure?
Several stone structures. Like, they might be buildings. They might just be walls. You know, they're things that look like they're built. They're not trees.
Interesting.
They're not trees and they're not a pile of rocks. It's something that, you know, someone or something built.
I wouldn't be surprised, I mean, with the other things that we've encountered. I mean, are we just gonna walk through the woods?
No, I was going to fly there.
Oh, okay. Can you
We got
breathe?
Find out.
All right.
We got one more shot of flying today.
Do you think we can make it?
30 miles? Yeah.
You feel like you could probably make it there and back within an hour, but it would be tight.
Okay. So we're just scouting it right now?
Yeah, I think we should go see what it is.
Okay. Come back, make a decision.
Yeah. Or you guys can, you know, if it looks super interesting, we can land there, but unless it's safe enough for me to rest, we can't fly out.
Right. Okay.
So,
I mean, if we want to go in, I'm fine with that.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can understand you when you talk. We can't talk back to you in Eagle, so.
Right. Okay. I mean, if you're ready to go.
You know, just saying that wherever we land next is where we're spending the night.
I hope it's not too hot.
You know, or we're walking.
Yeah, you'd be walking from there.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah. You cast and polymorph and wild shape, and you are eagles again. You pick up your respective cargo and begin flying towards this maze-like building thing that you saw. Once you begin flying over the Grove of Embering Elms properly, the smoke really begins to hit you and become more of an issue. So you have to fly higher
Sure.
to kind of like not be blinded by it and like not have your friends coughing and hacking and wheezing, dragging them through the smoke. So you're probably a couple, like 150, 200 feet in the air. So you are like flying up there. And you're making your way in this direction. While you are on the trip there, everyone can give me a perception check if they desire to.
27.
Great.
25.
Cool.
12.
Great. So Olive
You
and
get advantage 2 defect.
Olive and Adis, you are flying out, and you both see this area that you're heading towards. This like maze of walls or whatever the hell it is. But you see it on the horizon, and you head your way there. You notice something else, though. Off towards the east, you notice what appears to be a large open area, like larger than like a small clearing, like a big clearing.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like a day away or so. But you think you make out like a cracked tree, like that's been like broken in half, but like massive. Kind of like out towards the east. But
Is it still live or is it like burnt?
It's hard to tell. You can't really tell that much from where you are. You just see the shape of it. Like it's a massive tree.
Okay. The Yggdrasil.
I mean, it's pretty big. I would say it's not as big as the tree that you think you were in Tira Ethal, but it's still a massive tree.
Olive, you want that in the garden?
Yes.
It's like a really old redwood, like a really old sequoia.
Pretty.
At least in terms of size. But so you continue on flying a little bit north here. After about half an hour, you fly over this area that you were looking towards, and you can all make perception checks. The eagles have advantage.
24.
Very good.
19.
Cool.
22.
All right. Looking down at about 150, 200 feet below you through the smoke and haze is pretty difficult. But all of you manage to catch a basic glimpse. And what it appears to be is a variety of structures that are built close together. But there are figures moving amongst them. Those of you who rolled above a 20 can see that these figures are moving and are not just like moving, but they have an element of fire to them. Like they appear to be smoldering themselves.
Do they look humanoid?
Yeah. Like they're not like 4-armed or 8-legged or anything. They appear to be walking on 2 legs. A couple of them appear much larger than others. But these buildings, you all look at them, and it seems like there's something weird about the buildings. Like they've been built in such a way where they don't add, like there seems to be no real point of them. Like, it's not like they're all built in a single line. It's like there's a big building with a weird shape here, and then like 10 feet away from it, there's another big building in a weird shape here. That's got like a half circle. It's just, they're just weird shapes.
I hate it already.
Let me say some of them are bigger. Bigger like a tall person, or bigger like 20 feet tall?
Bigger, like hill giant kind of size, like
I
large,
hate it more.
like 12 feet tall, maybe.
Okay.
You can try to get lower and make another perception check if you want, but chances of them noticing you by doing that increase exponentially.
Sure.
Are
Hey,
you
Defect,
flying
what do you...
Oh,
Hey, Defect, what do you say? Should we take a closer look, or should we come back when we're fresher?
Let's and Eagle. Let's fly back, and approach in a more quieter way.
Fair.
Okay, you turn back, and make it back to the same area that you departed from, and are easily able to return to your normal selves.
Yay. Boop.
well, that was interesting.
So, anyone know anything about people on fire?
We all look at Adis.
Arcana check?
Sure, go for it.
$17.
Okay. With a 17, you know that there are such things as fire elementals. You know that there are individuals who have been touched by, in some fashion, by the elemental planes, Ganassi. You've met a couple of those. There are, there are like fire giants. There are salamanders. So there are many creatures that are of flame and emit flame. Efreet.
Do I know of their nature? Like, their temperament?
It varies. There's no like set rule for them.
Okay.
Generally pretty
Well-
hot-tempered.
Culturally, like some of them are very aggressive and others are manipulative. And some just kind of, like fire elementals themselves just kind of hang out and like mostly are more neutral in their outlook. Like they don't have cultures as much as like Efreet or fire giants do.
Okay. Well, I relay that.
Mm-hmm.
I also could possibly communicate with them.
Oh yeah? You speak fire?
I speak Primordial, which is all of it.
That's kind of cool.
But I don't necessarily know how much they'll want to speak. That's kind of up in the air. And
Sure.
we're not the most charismatic bunch.
Nah, not at all.
Did you see that tree, though, Olive?
I did see that tree.
Maybe it'd be safer to check that out?
We could. That's a day's flying away. Was the area around the tree on fire, or was that clearing like a fire clearing as well?
I mean, like, yeah, the entire area is like smoking and smoldering.
Right, but like,
Around the tree?
Well, like the immediate area, you couldn't see the immediate area around the tree, but
Okay.
like the general area was. Like you just noticed it because the tree was so massive.
Mm-hmm.
gotcha. But there wasn't like a noticeable like hole in the smoke layer or anything.
No, nothing like that.
I don't know, personally.
I'm a little concerned about sleeping all night in the fire.
There's that. But there's also going into that village of fire and possibly being attacked as well.
Also, also a reasonable concern?
I mean, it's up to the group how we want to proceed. If we have any strong opinions towards one path over another.
How far from the fire line are we?
You're a few hundred feet south.
All right, so we could stroll over. I think we should stroll over to the fire line and just like, we've
How hot
flown
is
over it. Yeah, how hot is it? How hard is it to breathe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you.
investigate the more details of like, are we going to burn our feet walking every few yards, or is it more patchy and that kind of thing?
Yeah. So you head on over that way and take a gander. Immediately, like sitting or standing on the edge of this fire line, you can immediately see that the trees that are kind of growling emberly, that made no sense in grammar, glowing with embers in them. They have like veins of like ember, for lack of a better word, that kind of like exist within the tree. Adis and Olive, you can make nature checks at this moment. The general area of the smoke seems to mostly be above in the tops because like the smoke rises. The forest floor is ash. There's no undergrowth. It's just ash.
But like, is the ground warm to the touch or hot to the touch?
It's warm, but not uncomfortably so. And the areas like between the trees is similarly like it is warm. And the rain that is still kind of drizzling is not putting any of it out.
Right, but we're not taking fire damage by setting foot on the ground.
No, you're not. It is warmer, but it is not like hot to the touch or like it's not even necessarily dehydrating. It's just warm.
Okay.
It's like 90 as opposed to like 60.
Right.
I still hate that, but
yeah, it's a dry heat. Hey.
Olive is feeling extremely nature smart at the moment.
Yeah, with a natural 20, Olive, these trees are still alive. They are growing in this perpetual state of emberness.
Cool.
Can I detect a portal?
Yeah.
Since that's still a thing?
Yeah. You reach out with your portal sense. Go ahead. Let me just check something. What's the range on that? A mile?
Yeah.
Glorious. You do not sense a portal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't sense anything. I mean, aside from the flaming trees.
I mean, you do have other sensory abilities, as a reminder.
Does this count as a forest? For favorite terrain?
Yeah.
Sure looks like a forest to me.
I mean, it is a forest.
It's fire.
It is an embering grove of forest. So yeah, I would count it as a favorite terrain.
Sure, we'll do a primeval awareness, 6 miles.
Cool.
All it's gonna tell me is elementals for days. I'm gonna need a drink of water.
Cool.
Yeah.
You immediately have that effervescence of Fey. And you expect the chalkiness of elemental, but you don't get it.
Oh.
Instead, what you get is the kind of rotting, decay, fungal taste of undead.
No, ma'am.
That's not better.
I don't like that. I'll relay that to the group. I would have assumed it would be an elemental, not undead.
Is there any wildlife about?
You do not see any wildlife in this area.
Just burning trees.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing living in them. There's no birdies. There's no.
No, there's nothing here. Back where you like landed, there was like signs of like wildlife.
Right.
Squirrels, birds, whatever. Here in this embering grove of elm trees, no sign of a bird, no sign of a squirrel.
Cool.
Hmm.
So nothing's alive here, or nothing of in the animal kingdom is alive here, but we've got some undead.
That's what it seems like.
Is the Fae you sensed just Paduk, or more than that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's not how the ability works.
Yeah,
Well-
it just tells me what's in the area. It doesn't tell me direction or how
Or
many.
volume? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I would assume if this whole forest was literally just like elementals standing shoulder to shoulder, I feel like it would make things taste a little bit chalkier. Or at least just like a strong, quick hit of it. But no, it just tasted really bad.
Awesome.
And
Don't love
while
that.
you all ponder that, this is where we're going to take our break for this evening.
All right.
So we will be back in 5 minutes, everybody, where we will find out what our intrepid band will do next. So
Burned to death.
so we will be right back in 5 minutes.
Asphyxiate.
Thank you all very much. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. We are back. Thanks for hanging out with us. Where we left off, our party had just done a flyover of some strange buildings that appear to be oddly shaped and structured in the middle of the Embering Elms. And not only that, but after returning to their non-embering point of departure, Adis detected no portals, but did detect a bit of Fey and a bit of undead. And so that's what we are discussing now.
Cool.
I will also say, Adis, as you're kind of like looking out on your, looking out into this like embery forest, you know, helping your friends get a little bit of advice and advising them as best you can, giving them warnings of danger. As you're kind of pointing and gesturing, occasionally a little bit of silver glints in your eye, and you look down at your hand, and that mithril strand that runs through the gold ring that Kalen gave you recently just catches your eye for a few moments.
Oh, what does that mean?
Just means he notices it, that's all.
I mean, I did say that I would get you to the forest. And, you are here.
Are you leaving us here?
Perhaps if you were to join us just a little bit farther.
How farther's a little bit farther?
Perhaps until we get this next shard.
I mean, that could take days, weeks. This forest looks big.
Well, we know some good places to start looking.
It's true.
That weird tree you guys pointed out earlier, and the area with the weird structures.
Right.
Weird burning undead.
Which I can easily take care of.
You say that now, it could be
Yeah.
something far more complex.
Well, I swear to you, I will not let anything happen to you, Adis. Can't believe I said that. But it's true. But it's true, Adis.
Defect, you care?
I guess I do have a heart.
Wow.
I don't know what this what's it? No, not the rock. What were those things that were attacking us that we're going just for the hearts? Whatever they were.
Oh,
they
yeah.
missed mine, for mine was the biggest of them all.
The stag birds.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, mechanically, if you leave here, you're going to use the latch blade to do it. And that means we don't have an escape route.
Well, we could quickly,
Like, how does that work? If we, is that
I
a
could
thing?
hand you the blood vial, potentially. But you'd need somehow to contact if you need a portal opened. So, I mean, what time of day is it?
It's not too late in the day. It's
No.
probably around noon. Midday.
No, we've been flying for 4 hours, so it's a little early afternoon.
I'd say it's late morning, not even.
Well, we flew for 4 hours and we took an hour of short rest, so it's been at least 5 hours since we.
Yeah, it's like 11 or noon, midday ish.
The options are walk further along the edge of the forest or
walk
go in.
into the forest. Yeah.
Does anybody have any strong feelings towards either?
towards a tree.
I'm gonna go towards the tree. That's a day of flying away.
I mean, we could start
We
walking.
can walk in that general direction. Absolutely.
Um,
Alright.
Jared, could you ping on the map kind of where we saw the tree?
It is not that detailed of a map.
the map.
Okay.
The map's too small for that.
Essentially, like, you could travel. Like if you walked along the edge for like half a day, you'd probably get to roughly the area.
Okay.
Like-
then yeah, I would.
And then you'd have to like cross north into the Embering Elms from there.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't know if it was kind of like the tree is kind of like very into
Deep
the
in.
elms, or if there was like a way to get closer while skirting.
I mean, it was more like it's hard to say like a center, but it was like off to one side, but kind of in the middle.
Okay. I mean, if we can get closer by skirting the elms for a period of time, we can do that.
Like
Yeah.
you would have to cross into the Embering Elms or fly over them at some point before you
Mhm.
get there.
Right, but we could usefully get closer.
Yeah,
It's not like the edge is the opposite direction.
correct.
I
Well-
think we should walk closer. That certainly seems like a less perilous thing to investigate.
Yeah, we can watch. That's the more perilous.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can walk alongside. I would say let's just keep an eye into the forest and see if we can maybe see what I detected as undead, possibly.
Look, I think we're looking for anything moving.
Yeah, since we're not hearing animals either.
Yeah.
Well, you are seeing and hearing animals like south of the fire line, but not in the elms.
Right.
So it's up.
Just
Are
like
you
there's-
traveling in the regular forest or in the Embering Elms section?
I think we're
Regular
traveling
Forest?
in the regular forest,
Okay.
but real close to the line.
Cool. Like 20
Like,
feet.
yeah, like close enough that we can look into the Embering Elms and see if there's
Yeah, totally.
creatures.
Yeah, you can get moving and start and head that way if that is your desire.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
think,
everybody can give me perception checks.
I think on our next long rest, I might learn talk to plants.
Would
That'd be
be
fun.
very interested, actually, what these plants have to say.
Yeah.
Or how they sound.
Perceptify. 26.
Cool. As you all walk along with 18s, Olive and Defect, you don't notice much of anything. Paduk with a 22 is kind of like flitting around occasionally.
Mhm.
He doesn't like go in, but he does occasionally speak up. Oh, there's something. Can't see what it is, but like a shape moved.
Can I see
But
what
there
they're
is a
talking
squirrel right there, and he kind of points to the south a little bit. Adis, you look where Paduk points, and you also see like a humanoid shape just kind of move like through some trees and then kind of out of the field of vision.
about? When I see that, can I just do another primeval awareness?
Mhm. You get that bubbly effervescence of Fey, and you get the decaying, mushroomy flavor of undead.
No, still no elemental?
Nope.
Interesting.
Can I take the time to talk? I'd love to talk to some wildlife on this side and ask them if scary things come out of the fires.
Sure. You cast
But just squirrel.
the spell.
Yeah.
And Paduk had pointed out a squirrel.
Yeah.
So you cast it. Go ahead. Just make an animal handling check to like get the squirrel's attention.
Okay.
Yeah, with a 20, you kind of put your hand out with like an acorn or whatever, and the squirrel. Hi. How are
Hi
you?
there.
Hello.
I'm good.
Can I have this?
You can in just a minute. I'm wondering. We keep seeing things moving in the fiery part.
Yeah.
Do they like? Do you know what it is? Do they ever come into the not fiery part? Do you ever go into the fiery part?
I know someone who does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Can I have the acorn?
If you answer this question, you can have the acorn.
Make a persuasion check. Or make another animal handling check, actually.
Okay, good. Better at animal handling than persuasion.
Fair. What'd you get?
14.
Cool. So the squirrel kind of looks up at you. All right. Well, if you find Lychee, he goes in there a lot. He lives in there, actually.
What does Lychee look like?
He's a fox.
Okay, I will give him the acorn.
Thanks. Anything else? He kind of like squirrels it away appropriately.
Do you know where we might find this Lychee?
Well, he comes out to like hunt stuff, but he lives in there somewhere.
He lives in the fiery part?
Yeah,
Okay.
but he lives there.
I'll give him another acorn.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. There's you live in those fake trees that you people like put together, right?
Sometimes.
Well, you can't come to my nest, but there's a nest that you people use, like I don't know, that way. And he kind
Which way
of
is he pointing?
it's roughly along your path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
People you kind of people use it a lot in the winters.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Pull out
Bye.
one of my slightly withered apples, and I'll use my dagger to cut off a piece for him.
Which he immediately devours. Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thanks for the acorns. Bye. And he squirrels away.
How long are these apples gonna last?
They're pretty
Apples last
withered
a long time.
with proper care, but these ones are pretty withered at this point.
They're not in great shape. I'm eating the rest of it anyway.
But the squirrel doesn't care.
So, apparently there are some wildlife that live in the fiery part. He said there's a fox. He also said that there was, I think he's saying a town, or at least some houses, further along this way.
Interesting.
I mean,
Okay.
he's a squirrel, he's not that smart, but he described it as a people nest.
A people nest. Okay. Well, that works, I guess.
So yeah.
Well, shall we keep going? Keep an eye out for this fox, I guess.
Yeah. I want to say that, it's probably like a dusky thing that we might see the fox.
Fair.
Foxes are like, dusk and dawn creatures. But yeah, we should keep our eyes open. If we see them, continue, keep walking.
Cool. You keep on trekking through the woods without problem. Nothing comes and like annoys you or bothers you. There's the occasional like bird or whatever that just kind of flies by. Still no real movement or danger of any kind comes from the embering forest to your north.
What do you guys think about walking through the edge, crossing the line and walking through there for a little while?
I mean, like just in, or like how
Yeah.
deep?
Yeah, like go like 10 feet in and just see if our perception is different in there.
Wouldn't bother me.
We can try.
You know,
Science.
for science. Yeah, for a ways we're gonna, walk, 10 or 15 feet in,
Cool.
and then continue to skirt the edge. But
Cool.
Yeah.
Someone roll me a D100.
Skirt the edge, but like on the other side of the edge.
Yeah.
I got you.
oh, defense roll.
45.
Cool. All right. Yeah, you walk in for a while. Doesn't seem to be any sort of problem.
Do we see any more movement on this side of the line?
Make a perception check.
Can I do that too?
Yeah, you're all in there.
15.
You don't notice anything particularly crazy. I mean, it is warm. It is much warmer. It's like a good 30 degrees warmer on this side of the line. There's still smoke, even though most of it is like up above the canopy.
Mhm.
But like there's still smoke. There's like a perpetual like ash residue that kind of like falls around.
Ew.
Which doesn't create like a super obscured vision close up, but like the farther away things are, the more like obscured it is because
Sure.
there's more stuff.
But like, is it easy to breathe? And
It's uncomfortable, but it's
What?
doable. Like it's definitely like breathing in like hot smoky air, but not like chock full of ash. Like putting up a scarf or whatever is more than sufficient.
everyone got a scarf.
Paduk is
Winter
coughing
weather
a little
clothing.
bit. He's like, so
I-
he like hides in your hood and goes invisible for a while.
I can get that. 29.
Yeah, you don't see anything patrolling around or stalking you. You don't see any sign of wildlife. You do see a few footprints, though.
What kind of footprints?
They appear humanoid.
Where are they? Which direction?
They kind of just are. Occasionally, they are going the same way you're going. Sometimes they're going another way. It looks like they're just kind of wandering.
Wait. Favorite terrain. God, how does character sheet? Here we go. While tracking a creature, which I assume is just looking at the foot. If I can just look on the footprints,
Yeah.
I can know the exact number, size, and how long ago they passed through the area.
Cool.
Do they look fresh?
These do not look particularly fresh. Maybe a day or so.
Okay.
But they, and it depends on which set you look at. Like some are a little bit older, but they just appear to kind of wander. It seems to be like a variety of groups, and some do appear occasionally larger than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some appear, I don't know, like heavier, but the same size, if that makes sense. Like maybe they were armored in some fashion or carrying something heavy.
Okay, well, while we're walking, I will kind of pay attention to tracks and kind of look out to see if I see any like fresher ones.
Yeah. With a 29, you don't notice anything that like is like, oh, this is only hours old.
Okay.
As you walk through this area. Eventually, although with that 29, after a couple hours of walking, you do see what appears to be on the southern side of the lane, kind of back in the regular forest, what appears to be like a cabin of some kind.
Oh, look, it's the human nest.
I'm not. That's just what I'm going to call all houses from now on. I would like to buy this human nest, please. Guys, do you see that? Right over there.
Does it?
It's a human nest.
Pretty sure that's what the squirrel was talking about.
Probably.
Does it look
How far away is
occupied?
it?
It's probably a few hundred feet away.
Does it look derelict?
No,
Does it look occupied?
can't tell.
Like there's not like, smoke from a chimney or, laundry hanging outside or anything.
Can't
It's
tell
a
from
great
here.
place to dry laundry, like, let's be honest.
Yeah. Although it would probably get pretty ashy from,
Yeah, it's fair.
but maybe you just learn to live with that if you live here. All right, should we go check out the
I feel like if
human
you
nest?
lived in this dry climate, you would be ashy normally.
Fair.
Do they have Vaseline in this world?
So are you crossing back to check out the cabin? Is that
Yeah.
what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you walk right up to the cabin. The area immediately around it is kind of cleared, but not in a like massive sprawling lawn kind of way, just in like a safety from fallen trees sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
Grass hasn't been mowed this week.
No, there's no like lawn or anything or garden or anything.
Did you guys see those tacky pink flamingo lawn ornaments?
So tacky. And in the middle of nowhere, not even neighbors to annoy with them. Jeez.
I think I saw a garden gnome over there.
And then it runs away into the forest. You scared it.
Oh, Jesus.
No, you approach it, and Adis and Olive, you immediately recognize it for what it is. It's like a hunting or trapping lodge.
Rich weirdos?
No, like for hunters and trappers. It's not very big. It's small.
If it was for the rich weirdos, there'd be like a 300-room palace out here
Fair.
for no fucking reason.
Fair.
But looking at it just as you approach it, it's fairly simple. It's got shutters that are closed. It has, a chimney. There's a little porch over the front door with an awning. And it looks just like a little like cabin that the kind like people use in winter when they are out hunting and trapping things.
And there's no signs that it's from the outside that it's currently occupied.
There's no like lights or fires lit that you can tell, but the shutters are all closed and the door is closed.
And it's what time of day is it now? Like late afternoon?
Yeah, you probably got an hour of light left.
Shall we investigate the nest and see if it's a good place to spend the night?
And the rain is starting to pick up a little bit.
I would say
Yes.
this looks good.
If we go up to it, does the door open?
Yeah, it's got a big bolt on the front that you can open up. And there is a little sign next to the door as well that just says common use cottage. And it pretty much is like if you're hunting and trapping in the winter and you need a place to stay, feel free to use this place. If you use anything, replenish it. It's a very like kind of like communal kind of message. It's like if you need the shelter, use the shelter, but replenish the firewood next to the fireplace. All that kind of like basic stuff.
Yeah, like a way station for stranded travelers.
Yeah, essentially.
Defect, you want to split some logs?
Sure.
Just don't dust them.
Only works on humanoids. So
Thank God. Well, I mean, if we have to replace what we use.
Yeah, let's,
Yeah.
let's go inside and open up a shutter or two to get some light and air in there.
Yeah, easy enough. It's a bit dusty. It's been about 8 months since the last snowfall, probably. So it's a bit dusty, but there is a stack of wood next to a fireplace, and it's mainly like it's a big fireplace that serves both as like a hearth for cooking, and as like sitting and
Heats the room.
yeah, exactly. It's a single room space, so there's a couple of like cots folded up against a wall, but it's probably like a 30 by 30 foot area.
Well, if you'd like, I can go try to scrounge us up some food in the non-burning forest.
Yeah.
I'll head out and find some food.
Yeah.
Does the door also lock from the inside?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
So it
like
only
and
seals
there
from the outside.
and there's a note about it. It's like lock when you leave, keep
Right.
out, critters.
This certainly seems like a better place to spend the night than in the fires.
You didn't want to sleep in the fire?
I mean, it was warm at least. It was cozy.
But yeah,
I don't know if cozy or oppressive is the right word.
Defect can spend time like chopping some wood.
Absolutely.
There's like seasoned wood under a tarp that you can chop up to replace things. Very easy. Adis returns with some rabbits and whatever for like dinner stew kind of action. Cook up
Greg,
some
get the rice.
I've got some rice and some orcish spices.
Yeah. But yeah, so the night comes, the rain picks up, and it's very pitter-pattery here. And you all kind of relax in this thing. Adis, at some point in the evening, something stirs in you, and you kind of go outside, and there's a little like there's like a little like rocking chair kind of deal out there. And you just kind of
My favorite thing.
yeah, and you just sit at it and enjoy it. And something about this environment, this cabin in the middle of nowhere, reminds you of your life before you got
Aw.
struck by purple lightning. You think about the first home you built with Kaylin, and your friends are inside. You feel like they need you, but you also know that Kaylin is back home, even though he has said that you take all the time you need. That's been weighing on you. And so you just kind of take this moment to think about what it is that you want, not what people expect of you, but what you, Adis Vargard, want. Inside, everybody is, chatting away, having a good time. It's pretty safe in here. There are cots you can wheel out. Greg claims one very quickly and builds a little like fort out of it.
Cook some dinner.
Paduk is like zipping all around the place, like checking it all out, very intrigued and being like, "Oh, this is a weird way to do this. Why don't you just ask the tree to grow?" And very like running commentary of like, "Why would you do it this way?"
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone bring marshmallows?
What's a marshmallow?
What's that?
Seems like a camping trip kind of a thing.
A sugar puff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the wind picks up a little bit, the rain. Adis, eventually you return inside, and it's up to you guys what you do. If you just go to bed, if you have discussions, or if you throw a rager, like, I don't know.
I break out the mushroom liquor. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, you can do that.
No, bad idea. In the city, yes. Camping on the edge of a flaming forest, probably not.
Maybe we might want to keep our wits about us.
Yeah. I mean, I assume that the watches won't be terribly dangerous. I'm gonna eat my words later.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
You should just stop talking.
yeah. Knock on that wood.
Did we tickle all the furniture to see if any of it laughed?
I mean, you can investigate the place if you want.
I laugh, Olive laughs, the cot that Greg is sleeping on laughs.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, other than like the basic stuff around here, the only like thing that maybe there's something interesting in, there's like a shelf with some like journals on it, or books or
Ooh.
something.
Diaries.
That's kind of cool. Let's check
Oh.
out the bookshelf.
Jared, the direction for that big tree in the middle of the forest is which direction from this cabin?
North by northeast.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, you take a look at these shelves, and a lot of it is very much just like, you know, people's accounting of like what they used in the cabin and what they replaced it with. There's no like secret tomb or tome of lore or anything that you discover here.
Mhm.
There is a journal that kind of seems to have like multiple entries in it that talks about the fire line. Multiple entries over the past like 10 years or so. And the fire line has not moved in those 10 years.
It's heartening. But it's all journals. There's not like any storybooks or...
No, it's all pretty practical stuff. There are
These are hunters.
yeah, there's like, you know, what you gather to be coded entries about like migratory patterns of animals, but you can't decipher them. You just kind of figure they're probably talking about that. There is a journal, you know, that seems like it's been referenced a lot. And like the pages are worn and the cover is bent over in a couple places. It's just like a leather bound journal. It's not too rigid or anything. But that journal talks about why to keep away from the ash forest.
That seems important to read.
Yes.
It says there are ash people who live there that are very dangerous.
Ash people, you say?
Yeah. It just calls them cinder folk, ash people, you know, fire shadow walkers. There's a couple of different references to them. Like, this journal is in multiple hands. It's not like one person wrote it.
Sure.
And like it describes different ones. Like some look like regular people except they're on fire, or like ashy colored, or some of them have like big weapons. So like keep out. And some of them you get the sense are just like people retelling folklore that they've heard. But some of them might be true.
I mean,
or at least have a
always
seed
got
of
some
truth.
sort of truth to it.
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
There is also like one or two fleeting references to like the lone survivor still lives in the woods and that kind of thing.
One can be the loneliest number that you ever knew.
Yep. But like, there's no reference to like who that lone survivor is, or like what they are the survivor of.
Right. All right.
It's such like common folklore to whoever is writing this that they didn't bother explaining it.
This is all very fascinating.
Yes.
Well,
Shall we,
would you still like to keep watches? We don't have to necessarily go outside, but
Yes.
I mean, it's probably a good idea. We're still definitely in hostile territory.
I mean, there's nothing in these notes of the cabin being attacked, right?
Nope. And there's no like arrows or anything sticking out of the cavern sides or anything.
Right.
We move a carpet and there's a giant blood stain.
I didn't think this was the sort of place that had carpeting.
Or a rug leading down into.
There's a couple
like,
of throw
cellar.
rugs, but that's about it. There's a cupboard
Well-
with a bunch of blankets and pillows, but that, that's neither here nor there.
Well, does anybody have any strong feelings towards one watch or the other, or shall we just?
Should we just batten
Yeah,
down the
I'll
hatches?
go first. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say just lock the door.
Close the
'Cause-
shutters?
Yep.
Yeah, the storm doesn't sound like it's going to let up anytime soon.
Do you keep the fire going, or you're closing the shutters, locking the door?
There's a chimney, right?
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah, I think
leaving
we'll
the
let
fire
it
going is
go.
going to asphyxiate us all.
No,
What?
it's a cabin people use in winter. Like it's
I
Yeah.
keep the fire going.
Yeah,
I would
think
say
we can
maybe
try
not like raging, but
Right.
sure.
Embering.
nice warm light in the room.
Yeah, it's fine. Keep it low. Yeah, without an issue. You can make a perception check defect. During your watch, see if you notice anything in the closed room you find yourself.
15.
There are 4 walls with a closed door and closed windows and a roof and a floor.
That makes me feel safe. Excellent. All right, excellent. So that's my watch. And nothing else?
Nope.
I'll go wake up the next person. This time I'll wake up Greg.
Okay, Greg can make a perception check.
All right. I tried.
Yeah, it was a good try at a Greg stab.
Yeah.
There it is. 16.
Greg passes their watch pretty much the same way. They get a little bit bored just looking at the walls and the ceiling and the floor.
I feel that. Greg will wake up Adis.
Okay. Are you going to do anything special on your watch or just perception check?
I would like to think Olive was talking about the portal earlier. Do I know if the portal effect, does it open a portal to where the wielder's blood is, or to where there is a known blood vial?
Cool. So, you've had this scimitar, this latch blade, long enough to know that it's all about the attunement.
Mhm.
So there may, and you know that there can only be 2 blood vials, and you know where theirs are. One is with Seda, and one is back at the other wizard's place, the wizard's place,
Fluxus.
Fluxus.
Mhm.
But each time you've made a blood vial, you've heard one shatter, even before you had made 2.
Mhm.
However, you know that you need to know where the blood vial is,
Mhm.
and you can only hold 2. And you've made 2.
So if I just like if I have someone else attuned to it, if they know where the blood vial is, they can open it, or it has to be theirs.
You do not have enough information for that answer.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
But make an Arcana check.
Okay. Nope.
Yeah, with a 3, you just don't have the information. It might work, but it could also very well not. Sometimes magical items are finicky.
Right. Yeah, I'll just do a perception check after while sitting with that thought in my head.
Cool.
Perceptify.
Are you like looking out? Are you opening a shutter or just standing in closed doors?
Staying inside, I would,
Okay.
kind of like do a perimeter, walk around, listen to kind of like where the shutters are, like try to listen a little bit more outside.
Okay. With a 28, you do hear, like, as you kind of walk by the front door on your perimeter sweep, you do hear like little feet or paws, like kind of tuk 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 across the porch, like of a small animal, not of like a monster.
Okay. I was like, just claws, just like
No, not claws, paws.
paws. Okay.
Paws.
All right. Well, as long as I don't feel threatened by it, I will just kind of like keep that in the back of my mind while still just kind of circling around.
Yeah, that's the only real thing of note.
Okay.
And you keep thinking about, everything else you've been thinking about.
We'll wake up Olive.
Great.
Right.
And then I will just talk to Olive briefly. I understand you had some concerns with getting back to Fay Harbor if I left, and I could leave you with the scimitar if you'd wish. You just have to keep it safe.
Do we think it'll work for me?
I don't really know. As far as I'm aware, you just have to know where the blood vials are. I don't know if it has to be your blood. And if you make a new vial, I don't know which one will break. It could be the one in Sada's office, or it could be the one with Fluxus.
Right.
So it'd be kind of a shot in the dark with that, but it could still be a chance.
Do we think it's worth trying? I mean, how much of a rush are you in to get back to Fay Harbor?
I'm still thinking. The only thing is, everything is uncertain on this journey. I'm alive right now.
That is fair.
Might not be at the end of tomorrow.
That's fair. That's been true the entire time I've known you.
And going into this forest with these supposed dangerous cinder folk, as well as I do have a commitment to you all. I made a commitment to Caleb first.
True.
And like I said before, I've already lost 20 years with him. So I'm gonna kind of sleep on it for the rest of the night. Or at this point, because it's like 2 hours nap on it. But I figure that might help you guys a little bit more if you keep this on you. Just bring it back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we all understand that you want to go back. I think we were all just surprised that you were going to do it so soon.
Life works in mysterious ways.
You
I
know,
had no idea that Galen was just gonna pop up like that.
fair.
Wasn't my plan, but it brought some things to light that I had been kind of having shelved in my brain.
Fair. You're not gonna just vanish one day while we're asleep or anything, are you?
No, I would wait. I would wait till morning.
All right. I mean, I think that's all we can ask of you. You
But-
know, you're not indentured to us. We don't
No.
control you. We don't, we don't control you, and we certainly understand that you want to go home. Just, the concern of, where are we in our quest, and, is there any other unfinished business that we need to worry about?
Right. I mean, at least for a time being, I could handle things in Fey Harbor, see where things bring me.
Plant my tree?
Of course, and I'm sure I can somehow magically be reached if needed be, but I figure at the least I could leave you guys as with the scimitar after I head home,
Right. Open the portal, drop it on the ground, and jump through.
basically.
And is it just someone has to attune to it, or is there some kind of? I mean, when you picked it up, you just picked it up off the ground and attuned to it, right? You didn't have to.
Yeah, I just attuned to it, and I kind of gained an understanding of how to use it.
It's not like there wasn't like a ceremony, or you didn't kill somebody to get it.
No, it fell out of the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
That was before I met you, I believe.
Yeah, I was in that damn desert.
Did not join you in the desert.
You're lucky. That was miserable. We got buried in sand.
Sounds unpleasant.
Yeah. I was getting that sand out of areas for quite a while. Chafing, yeah. But I'm gonna head to sleep.
Okay.
I heard some pitter patter of tiny feet by the door, but it was probably just a squirrel. Maybe that same squirrel.
Might be Leechy the fox.
Maybe. Jared, has the storm picked up at all? Or is it kind of just steady?
It's steady, but it is like slowly gaining in intensity.
Okay.
It's not
Cool.
it's not a torrential like hurricane, but it's it's just kind of been a constant presence, making itself known.
Like a solid summer storm?
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe like half a step below that, but yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I like how we're quantifying this in ways anyone understands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
summer storms, like where
Yeah.
the rain is like really heavy, but it's not like
Yeah.
unbearable.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It's all for the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was going to take a stroll around.
Interior of the cabin with everything
Interior.
closed. Okay,
Interior.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, listening at the windows. But she might crack a shutter and peek outside and see if there's anything to see out there. If it's just pouring rain, she'll close it again.
Okay, make a perception check.
18.
You do not hear anything above the rain. And are you opening like every shutter, or like a side shutter, or the front porch shutter, like what?
One
The
by
back
the front
shutter?
porch. One looking at the front of the cabin, just peeking out.
Okay. With an 18, you do see like wet little paw prints on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no creature currently. Just
No
There
creature
isn't
there
all-
currently, but like it does look like something like came up there and like wandered around a little bit, and then that's when you turn around and a giant pumpkin-headed guy has a big knife right behind you.
No, it's a hockey mask. It's Jason Voorhees.
Copyright.
I will relatch the shutters.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pick up that journal that told us about the fire people and like kind of page through it for the rest of my watch. Like,
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
flipping through and see if I can learn anything.
Yeah, you don't learn anything new from it. Like it wasn't very detailed or descriptive anyway. It's It's just kind of like, watch out for the cinder folk, watch out for the ash people.
Look out, they're scary.
Yeah. It seems like it's a lot of like fear because of the unknown.
Hmm.
Like they're different, therefore they are scary and terrifying.
Right. There's a scary thing over there. We don't know anything about it except it moved.
Yeah,
And now we're scared.
precisely.
I mean, I would be too. Like, let's be honest.
I mean, they don't sound
Flaming,
super.
shambling people, if they are shambling.
They don't sound super. Super friendly or super exciting.
Mhm.
All right. That's pretty much it. That's my watch.
Yeah, it passes without further incident.
Great. And that was the fourth one, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. The sun begins to rise. The rain picks up a bit.
We all get our long rest.
Everybody can apply a long rest.
Great. I'm going to take some time to learn about speaking with plants
Okay.
because I can. It's a
Yeah.
thing I can do on long rests.
Yeah, you spend your time communing with nature, kind of, maybe you sit outside in the rain, or like not in the rain, but on the porch, watching the rain, like looking out at the forest, getting some inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. Great.
So Olive spends an hour or so doing that. After she is long rested, the rest of you wake up and kind of do morning routines. Paduk flies around, like trying to help as best he can, but he's a sprite, so give him a break. But he does what he can.
He's doing his best.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He's got like a brush that he's like trying to like clean a little bit, like a little a little tiny brush.
He's just stirring up little dust devils.
Oh no, he's trying to clean like a plate that you guys used from the
Oh.
cabin the night before. And
Is there like a wash basin outside?
yeah.
Rain
Go
barrel or something.
Go wash the dishes.
Yeah. Yeah. Paduk does not seem to be overly bothered by the rain. Like he's just like, whatever. It in no way impedes his ability to fly, so he's fine with it.
That's good.
Yeah. And it's
Doesn't-
not raining so hard that it's like we can't travel in it, right? It's just
No.
steady rain.
Yeah.
The raindrops are as big as Paduk and blow them out of the sky.
Occasionally you hear the like odd crack of thunder or see a little bit of lightning in the distance, but
Mhm.
I mean, if we're going to walk through a forest that's on fire, I feel like in the rain might be the best way to do that.
You're not wrong.
If
Yeah.
nothing else, it'll keep the help keep the ash from poofing up every time we take a step, and
Also true. Yeah.
Keep some of the stuff out of the air.
yeah.
But
All right, so we clean up the cabin and leave it the way we found it.
I think this is where I might leave you guys.
Today?
I said I would get you to the forest. I've already traveled another day that I said I would.
Yep, that's true. All right.
I don't know what lies beyond this forest, and part of me is nervous that it might be too much and I might not be able to keep my promise to go home.
Or we can help you to keep your promise to go home after you help us find just one more shard.
Defect. Before I made a promise to you guys, I made a promise to Kaylin. And I have to keep through to that, and there's too much uncertainties for me to unfortunately feel confident enough that I will be able to make it home if I don't leave now. I mean,
But think
look at
of all the monsters we fought and all the bad guys we fought, and we survived them all.
Mostly.
What if you go back home only to be run over by a cart?
I don't
Haven't thought
think
about
that would.
that, have you?
I don't think that would kill me as much as a giant creature under a lake, or a dragon, or giant deer, or big deer birds impaling me with their horns,
Oh, come on.
And
The
yet,
giant creature under the lake was pretty cool, though.
or the
we
bandits, or
survived them
these
all.
possible barely. Some of them we've conquered easily. Other ones have kind of been by the skin of our teeth. And that's too much that I'm not willing to risk. I'm also one of the few last of a people. I can't.
True. Did you want to
So
go
am
back
I.
and see those statues, though?
Maybe one day. Or I can hand it off to people who are headed that way. I have it marked on a map roughly where it is. But like I told you last night, I've already lost 20 years with Kaelin. And I don't want to lose any more, or end up being the victim of these cinderfolk, or fire giant, or whatever lies at that tree. Or in that village. Or at any of these other shards that we're going to.
It's fair.
So this is it.
I told Olive I would leave her with the latch blades, so you guys possibly have a way to get home to Fey Harbor. She'll have to attune to it, but it might work as a way.
It's worth trying.
She knows where the blood is, so it's worth a shot.
There's not any way we can test that before you go without potentially breaking your path home, though.
Nope. So.
Alright, well, are you carrying anything else that you don't need at home that would be useful to us out here?
Inventory. Well, Greg can drop the enchantment on my bow. Defect, do you use a two-handed sword?
No, he uses an axe.
I could switch it up.
Oh, that's right, because you have Cloud Cutter.
Yeah. I mean, I could give you the sword. The armor, I don't know if any of you are my size.
Probably not. I think Adis is smaller than any of us except for Greg, and Greg's real short.
Well, I'm 6 feet tall, just lanky.
Also, you never know what's going to happen at home, so giving away all of your armor and weapons may not be the best thing.
No,
right.
I was thinking more along the lines of, are you still carrying rice and rations and?
No, that I assume we carry that in the bag of holding.
Things that would be specifically useful to wanderers and not to people sitting in a city.
Yeah, no. All of the stuff big stuff is in Greg's bag of holding. I just carry my weapons and stuff on me. Let me check one more inventory. Yeah. Unless you want an ancient flute.
No, I got my bagpipes.
Glint figures.
Glint figures?
Yeah, it's like a flashbang. I have 3 glint figures. These small statues made of glinting quartz in the shape of a tiny beast. When the command word is spoken as a bonus action, it emits a shining glitter in 20 foot by 20 foot area for 1 minute. Any creature in the area of the statue is activated, or that starts its turn there, must succeed a dexterity saving throw or be blinded until the start of its next turn.
Kind of cool.
I'll give you guys the glint figures.
All right.
Everything else is in Greg's bags.
Great. Cool. Well, once you go through that portal, unless we find Spoot again, none of us here has a communication ability, unless the Latchblade works for me. So we'll see how that goes, and if it doesn't work, you'll never know.
Well, I'm sure I'll probably hear of your exploits somehow. Or, I mean, if anything, I could go bother Seda to message you.
True story.
So,
But Fay Harbor is outside the animal messenger range, and that's the only distance. That's the
right.
only distance communication I have. All right.
Well.
Plant a tree.
Of course. Of course.
Find us a home, plant us a tree, and we'll see you when we see you, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll see you guys again. Not gone forever.
We're really far from Fay Harbor right now, though.
Oh, I'm sure I'll see you again.
And we're still going the opposite direction of Fay Harbor.
I'm sure I'll see you
Defect
again.
will, Defect will place a hand on his shoulder and say, of all the humans I've known, you were the least stupid.
Thank you. Oh, if you need another totem crafted, I'm sure Olive can talk to the nature spirits as well when the time comes.
I believe that is true. The
Suppose it'll
nature
have to
spirits
be.
do fall into my purview.
I would hope so as a druid.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Defect.
Greg just stands there with their arms crossed, glaring at you, being like, "Nope, not gonna do it."
I thought so. Well,
Stupid human. And they just kind of mutter to themselves about stupid human and kind of walk off to the side.
well, here we go. And Adis takes out the latch blade.
Paduk appears in front of your face, popping out of invisibility. So, bye. But I can come visit, right?
Oh, of course. I hope you do.
Yeah, it'll be
We
fun
still
to get to know Kalen sometime. He seemed nice.
He is very nice, but yeah, there's still a lot more for you to experience outside of that forest.
Yeah, but a city like Fay Harbor might be interesting too.
Oh no, of course. That's what I'm saying. Come and visit.
I mean, if this sword of yours works, maybe I could go now and just come back later.
If it works, I would prefer you to come later because they probably need you more right now.
Yeah, you're probably right. Okay, well, thanks, Adis. You helped get me out of the glen and the causeway, so thanks.
And you've had quite a time, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a treat. I've seen so much I didn't even think I ever wanted to see, but here we are.
Giant birds, more giant birds,
giant
a dragon.
And Paduk kind of like nods and smiles and just kind of flutters off over and like hovers next to Defect.
Well, here we go. Take out Latchblade, open the portal.
Cool.
Zeta in his office.
Yeah, you hand your various accoutrements, the glint figures over to Olive, Cloud Cutter over to Defect, and you use the charge to open the portal back to Fay Harbor. And immediately upon doing so, you see that it is not Seda's office. It is Kalen's apartment.
Oh.
And Kalen is there kind of looking out the window with a cup of tea or something.
Aww.
It's very early morning there. Like the sun is just barely rising. but he turns immediately and, oh, Adis, I know I've only got a minute, but I heard back from the Council of Chairs. Long story short, they'd be willing to sell you all the Tower Manor for 11,000 gold.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Do you need anything else, or do you have something else to drop off?
No, it's very wet over here. How much time do I have?
You've probably got 40 seconds.
Okay.
He very quickly
Yeah. No, it's very wet, and this forest is on fire
oh,
perpetually.
well, be careful.
But yeah, and Adis is gonna step through the portal, and
Kalen is shocked.
like, yeah, hands Olive the latch blade.
Well,
Honey, what are you doing?
Coming home.
And the portal closes. And the rest of you are in a cabin without Adis.
Defect will turn to Olive and Greg, the Duke, and say, "So, shall we move on?"
Yes, sir. Greg remains fairly silent, just kind of muttering to themselves.
Yeah, Defect will talk to Greg at a later point.
and
Or
now there's
time.
and now
there were 3.
So yeah, what are you going to do?
we
We
closed
must
up the
continue.
cabin. I'm gonna put the latch blade on my back. I previously had a mundane scimitar that I was carrying around in a scimitar sheath.
Yep.
So
Toss that shit away.
yeah, I replace it with the latch blade, and I'll go walk and talk to a burning tree.
Yeah, you can do that.
So, where are we? Speaking with plants.
Cool. So you walk on over towards the Embering Grove line of trees. And yeah, it's a tree that's there. You notice that they're all like elm trees, so there's one that looks particularly flamey that you can talk to.
Particularly friendly looking burning tree.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna cast Speak with the Plants.
Okay.
And ask the elm tree what causes it to burn.
I don't know, man. It's just what I do. All day long, every day. Just smoldering away here. You get used to the pain.
Oh my god. That got dark real quick.
Oh dear, it's a sad tree. How long have you been here, and have you been on fire all of that time?
Yeah, well, not always. I remember a time before the pain. But yeah, it's been like this for a long time. I don't know what happened. Just one day, big rolling fire came through and been like this ever since. It burns. It hurts. It sucks.
Oh my god.
Is it a constant burning, or you go out and come back?
No. It's always there. Sometimes it's easier to ignore, but then the wind picks up and... Yeah. Pain. Always pain.
Oh my god. It's so dark.
Awesome. I'm talking to Emo Tree.
You're talking to a tree that's perpetually on fire. I just want to make this clear.
Fair. I would like to ask the tree about what kind of what kind of creatures live or pass by here regularly.
Oh, those cinder folk walk by occasionally. That's about it.
Are they
Used
the
to be
source
some
of-
opossums that lived in the nest in my branches. They're long gone now. I don't even know if they survived the fire. Huh. Hadn't thought about it until now.
Sorry? I'm sure they were very nice opossums.
I mean, they just lived in me.
Do the cinder people interact with you at all? Are they
No,
No, they just walk around?
they just walk. Always seem like they're looking for things.
Cool. All right. It's been nice talking to you.
Thanks.
Does the rain feel nice at least?
No. It's just pain.
Oh god.
I'm going to sprinkle a shot of mushroom liquor on it.
Oh my god.
It flashes as the high alcohol liquor and it goes, ah, motherfuck! And the spell ends.
Bad druid. Bad.
I thought it might help ease the pain. I don't know. It was a thought I had.
That works on humans.
It's a flaming tree.
And so you poured alcohol on it and it really hurt it.
That's fair.
So it swore at you. Luckily the spell ended at that point.
That's fair.
Jesus.
Let's depart the area with the angry tree. I walk away from the tree. I just pissed off and
Yeah. All right.
it was not especially productive.
So the question becomes, are you traveling in the fiery bit or alongside in the regular bit?
At this point, how much closer are we to the tree in the clearing? Like, could I fly there in a
Potentially.
period of time?
Potentially.
What do you say, Defect? You
I
want to
mean,
fly toward that tree?
You figure that like if you walked closer, because you'd been walking closer for like that express purpose.
Right.
So yeah.
There's a chance we'll have to land in the fire when polymorph ends. Versus knowing
Right
we're walking
into
through
fire?
fire. The other choice is to walk through fire,
Hmm.
so
And if we were to fly, we would have to fly close to the ground. I just
Okay.
don't want anyone shooting arrows at me.
oh no, I think we can fly up. Because we saw that from a distance. It was real big. So we can fly up where it's a little easier to breathe.
Okay. Okay.
But, you know, there's a
Um,
I would say, better than average chance that we're going to have to come down and land in it at some point.
like you said, either we walk through the fire or
Yeah.
just
Flying
fly
over
up
it at
and-
least seems like we're going to get further.
Okay, then let's do it.
All right.
Cool.
Here we go.
And the storm has picked up a little bit. It's still not like it's not unflyable, but it is like heavy rain at this point.
Awesome.
Just so you know.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right.
You
Here we
cast
go.
the spell. You become an eagle. You fly up. Go ahead, give me perception checks, both of you, based on sight, so advantage, because you're giant eagles.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yes.
23.
Cool.
10.
All right. So first off, you both definitively see this massive tree. You fly up a couple hundred feet, and you see this big tree, probably an hour flight or so. So it should work out. Something else also catches your eyes, Olive.
Yeah.
You see two distinctly humanoid shapes, kind of walking in the direction towards the cabin.
In the fire or outside the fire?
Outside of the fire. And with a 23, one of them looks human, as far as you can tell. The other one looks more like a turtle.
Oh, bugger.
Yeah.
Oh,
Should we go back and get them? Screaming at Defect since he can
yes.
but does that look like a spoot to you?
How are you not gonna fly with Spoot?
I mean, there are not many turtles around, so
This doesn't seem like a
only the
native
our
turtle
turtle.
creation. Native turtle
Yeah, so
region.
uh,
Shall we?
yes,
Before?
let's go back.
All
So
right.
let's go to the turtle.
All right. Yeah, you bank back and circle around, and you see them walking through the woods below you.
Screech!
They both kind of look up. It's like dense foliage. Like you can see the human's face. It's a very like clean cut, clean shaven, kind of youngish looking human face. You can't actually make out the turtle very well. They're still in like tree cover.
It's some other turtle.
I say we fly above them for a bit until they get to a clearer area, because we're also not going to crash through the foliage. That'll hurt. So yeah, so I think we fly above them.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't move as quickly as you do flying, so it's a lot of like circling.
Sure. And
but-
while we're circling, we're get a better sense of the forest and the look around while we're doing it.
Yeah. As you kind of do that, you see the occasional movement like under the smoke canopy, which is condensed a lot because of the rain. But it's still like constantly glowing. So it's this weird mix of like smoke and ash and water that's kind of making it difficult to pick out details. But after a good like 40 minutes of following these two humanoids, they make it essentially to the cabin. And there's a clearing there. And the turtle, it is a turtle, just kind of walks right up to the cabin and like opens the door and goes in. And you notice that like it had a net across its back.
When they came out from under the thing, do we get better?
Well, the turtle just walked inside, like opened the door, walked inside. Like without any hesitation. Looks like it may have knocked, but you can't really tell because the canopy. The human, however, like stays outside, kind of in the rain, and just like looks up at the sky, kind of looking at the occasional like crack of lightning in a distance or clash of thunder, which is kind of odd behavior for a human.
Right.
You can make perception checks to see if you notice anything about this weirdo.
Humans are weird.
27.
So weird.
You're perceptive as fuck.
Eagle, baby.
Damn. Yeah. So this human appears to be fairly on the shorter side for human males, like 5'7" or so. Fairly lean in build. Like you're not sure exactly how much he would weigh necessarily, but like lean and more like slightly toned. Like it looks like you could easily like pluck him up as if that's what you wanted to do. He's got he's wearing currently like a turquoise hooded scarf that like covers his hair. You can just see like a couple of like light scars on his face with a ridiculous 27. Like you're not sure like how they happened or whatever.
You're channeling your Adis.
He's got a very long. He's got like a long cloak, or not cloak, but like jacket, like a trench coat, but not a trench coat kind of look. And like it's open, like the lower part is open, and you can see like his waist wrap isn't like pants, or if there are pants, they're under this waist wrap. It looks like one of those like Egyptian style kind of things, like, you know, when they're like wrapped and they have like the long loincloth down the front. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure. So he's basically walking around the woods bare-legged with a loincloth on?
He's probably got pants on underneath, and like looking at his boots and the wrapping, like they're more like sandals than boots, really. Like kind of Roman sandals. So very like Cleopatra, Mark Antony kind of look to it.
Uh-huh.
They are muddy as hell, but the jacket is immaculate. Like it is not at all dirty or muddy. Even the edges that like should be by rights, they are not.
I see.
Because you rolled a fucking 27. You notice all that shit.
Eagle's got good vision, what can I say?
Yeah. But you figure you've got like 10 minutes left of flight.
Alright, hey Defect, let's not land on them and scare the pants off of them. We're gonna fly out of sight range to land.
Agree.
Yeah, you do
Just
so.
point the way.
Eventually your spell ends and you revert to your normal self. You're probably like a 2-minute walk from the cabin. 5-minute walk.
Hey guys, do we want to go talk to those people? Do we think they might be people we know?
I don't know.
I mean, you said you saw a turtle, so
I did see it. Definitely
it
saw a
has to
turtle.
be Scoot.
I mean, there are other turtles in the world, although I don't know what the heck they'd be doing here in the land of the Embering Elms. Unless they're looking for us. On the other hand, why wouldn't Spoot call us?
Pick up a phone.
Maybe he lost his magic. Maybe he's cursed. I don't know, but we should find out.
I mean, he's the one with the messaging spell.
Yeah, you haven't. None of you have heard from Spoot in a while, actually.
No. I mean, that human looks like he's got some magic.
That's okay, I have an axe. Let's go.
Excellent solution.
Axe to face beats magic. Let's go.
Every time. Yeah, you make your way back to the cabin. The door is... Oh, yeah.
Duke to go invisible and peek in through the open door.
Yeah, okay, sure. He flies off, comes back a few minutes later. There's a turtle guy in there. Looks like he's getting a fire going. The human's just standing in the rain, looking up. Seems to like the rain, which is not... I mean, I know people who do that, but I don't know humans who do that. I don't know if that's like a human thing. Adius didn't do that.
True. He did a couple times when he got drunk and I dumped him in the rain, but not for fun.
Well, I don't think he's drunk. I think he's just walking.
Wait,
Well, standing.
Did Paduke meet Spoot?
Paduke did not meet Spoot.
I think we met Paduke the day or the same day that Spoot,
Spoot
left,
left.
like early in the
'Cause
morning.
he came to the causeway with us.
Right.
Yeah. But
And he left.
Paduke
he
did
left
not.
In the middle,
Yeah.
left in the middle of the night, and then we met Paduke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we met Paduke like that evening.
Yeah. You met him the evening after Spoot left.
Well, that makes him less useful as an invisible spy.
He told you what you wanted to know. There's a turtle in the cabin and there's a human in the front.
Wait, doesn't he have an ability though? Does he have that like heart touch? Yeah, heart sight.
Yeah, he
Oh,
does.
yeah.
He didn't use it.
Fair.
They don't look like they're, you know, they don't look bad.
All right. Well, shall we walk up and introduce ourselves? And say, hey, you're a turtle. Do you know our friend Spoot?
All turtles know each other.
All turtles know each other.
Yes. Yes. Just like that. You're a turtle. Spoot's a turtle.
Yeah. So you approach the
Yes.
the
We approach.
cabin. So you head back to the
Yes.
cabin.
Yeah.
The human is still standing up there in his immaculate jacket, and he turns his head as you kind of approach or call out or whatever you do. He's a very handsome individual. What do you say to this person who you are coming upon in the woods?
Hail.
Hail, stranger!
Uh,
I was
he-
still going with the Antony and Cleopatra theme.
Sure.
Woohoo!
Uh,
hate it.
He turns and looks to you and says,
Oh, you must be those friends of the turtle in there.
We did used to travel with the turtle.
Well, we're
His name's Spoot.
Spoot.
Yes, that's him in
Yeah.
the house.
Unless I've been traveling with another turtle named Spoot.
at which
I
point
believe so.
a large turtle kind of comes out and smiles, and you do indeed recognize Spoot. And he just kind of waves. He's like, "Oh, guys, hi. This is Nereus."
Hello.
And that's where we will end tonight's session of Nuuli Forged. King Cosmasi just subscribed for 1 month. Thank you, King Cosmasi. So nice to have a new subscriber. Thank you for coming around and hanging out with us. Good time to subscribe. We just met a new friend. A new human friend. So
Literally
job.
said hello.
Yep. You'll have to find out more about Nereus. Nereus? Nereus. You'll have to
Nereus,
find more about Nereus next week here on Nuuli Forged. And it seems he has come in tandem with your long-lost friend, Spoot.
Our friendly neighborhood turtle.
Yeah. How about that?
The cleric. The cleric is back.
Thank God.
Especially going against undead.
Thank God.
Hey. Yeah, so well done, everyone. You made it to the Embering Elms. You've said goodbye to a longtime friend and ally, Adis Vargar, who has gone home to spend time with his husband. And you have forced your way upon a Nereus,
New human.
a new human, Nereus,
New stupid human.
and a well-beloved turtle. So indeed, next week here on Nuuli Forged, we will have all 5 players back. Matt is returning next week. Isn't it very fun and exciting?
Thank God.
Yay.
And of course, this is where Mike's Discord.
Can you believe
Defect.
it? Like right at the
We can hear.
introduction.
We've been able to see you, and we can hear you.
There you
Yeah.
Defect,
Right.
reboot.
Right at the introduction of your new character, Discord's like, nope, not having it.
Oh
We
no.
want Adis back.
Discord is revolting and rebelling.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that you were still moving. Like you were, we could see you like sit there and like.
You guys froze on my end.
Yeah.
And it was just funny though, because Sarah, you're stuck like this.
Shouting Sweet's name.
Yeah, I was like, all right. They're all frozen. I can't hear anyone, so
Oh no.
I had to reboot.
Oh no.
Oh no. But yeah,
Alrighty.
So what did I miss?
Boot.
Me shouting Sweet's name and
a
Jared saying,
familiar turtle has appeared in the doorway and said, "Oh, hi guys, this is Nereus."
Oh yeah, we
Is
got
it
his
true?
name. Nereus?
Nereus.
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 Like serious, but with an N.
Yeah.
Nereus. Gotta write that one down.
Yeah. So we'll have to find out about what happened with those two next week.
All right.
King Cosmos, he came over from the Sky server. We love you, Skylar Seymour. He's fantastic. Thanks for coming and joining us. Sorry you missed everything. Came here at the tail end. But hey, we put up our weekly episodes on YouTube on the Monday after the show. So you can always check it out there. You're a subscriber. You can check out the VODs. And you are more than welcome to hang out and have fun. Cool. If Ives got it as our wonderful mod, you can throw up the socials, give all those links out. That would be great. In the meantime, we're going to go around and say our fond adieus and figure out who we're going to raid this evening. Let's start up in this corner
Oh,
with
that's me.
with Olive. It is indeed you.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out which way I point from Jared.
Yeah,
Wait, next week it's gonna be all messed up again.
yeah. It's reversed for me, so it's always like, where do I point?
Do we get to rearrange for the new player? New player.
Don't
character?
futz with me.
Hey, I'm Sarah, and I've been Olive, your friendly neighborhood eagle. And thanks for watching. And apparently, I don't have to say all the social media things because apparently we have a chat moderator who can give them to you. So cool. Come
You can
follow
still
us and
say
check
them.
us out.
Jared all hurt.
Do your job.
Fine. We are Nuuli Forged on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube. And you can like, follow, subscribe, all those fun things to show us how much you love us. Thanks for watching.
Glorious. Hopping on down to Adis/Nereus.
Thank you guys for watching. I had played Adis the Human Ranger, and now I am playing Nereus the You'll find out next week. Possibly. We'll see what happens.
Glorious.
Nearest of the questionable fashion choices.
And
Just wait, he's fabulous.
you are going to love it. Hopping up to this corner, we got Defect.
Yes, I've been Mike. Thank you all for watching, and catch you for, I think this is going to be episode 75, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, next week is our 75th episode, everybody, so be excited about it. That's
Wow.
And we get the whole gang together again.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yay.
knock on wood.
It's a nice round
momentous.
number to get everybody back on.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. King Kazmasi is thinking of getting into D&D. I highly recommend it. I may be biased, but
Do it. It's fun.
do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do
Yeah,
it.
King.
girl.
It's also very addicting.
So do it.
Uh,
Do it.
you
Do
never
it.
buy- You never buy just one set of dice.
Indeed.
We're playing online, and I got a whole bag of them here.
For reasons.
Because
because it's
I
fun.
already have 3 full bags of holding.
Yeah. Yes, Tanner has many dice. More than I do,
I
and
haven't
that's
played in
impressive.
person in 20 years.
I became a goblin.
Yep. And I am Jared. I have been your humble dungeon master here. Thank you so much, King Kazmasi, for subscribing. Hope to see you again soon here next week. We are here every week at 7 p.m. for Nuuli Forged. We're going to do
Eastern
a raid, Eastern Time, thank you. We're going to do a raid on the DAT network. They're playing some D&D over there as well. And yeah. Everybody, please be kind to one another. Be safe. Be smart. It's a crazy, difficult world out there right now, and there's a lot of bad shit going on. So try to be understanding and kind to one another. And we'll see you back here next time. We're going to raid the DAT network. Oh, if you want to hear myself and Matt talk about D&D stuff, you can check out our podcast, Mid-Level Adventurers, where we are an informational D&D podcast. And this week on YouTube, we released an episode all about magic items. So that could be cool to check out. But you can
Maybe
find...
I should go watch that since I've just acquired some.
Yeah.
My other favorite thing to receive.
Yes.
Especially useless ones.
Let's not go into your first. Shade. Anyway, that podcast is available wherever you find your podcasts. And until next week, goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you then. Goodbye, all.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hey.